those are silly. One man no fit do I'm finished.
That's what we heard. It's in the media. We've not gotten any press release by the official, be it Ministry of Interior or the Judicial, Ministry of Justice, like the Attorney General's office. So we don't know. But I mean, if it is so, there's a travesty of justice and a disrespect to our judicial system.
Well, good morning. Welcome. This is Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7. Also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. The man you just saw there is Frederick Kumi, popularly known as Abu Trika. He, as we do know, has been extradited to the United States to face charges in relation to an alleged $8 million romance scam case. Now, this is a case that has traveled a path at least from December when he was arrested, after the High Court ordered the extradition of Abu Trika to the United States to face charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering. His lawyers were scheduled to move an application at the High Court earlier in the week to stay the execution of the said extradition. But the lawyers from the Attorney General's Department were absent. Now, Kumi's lawyers have been speaking to this, describing this as a disrespect to our courts and a travesty of justice. But exactly what does all of this mean within the bigger context of the extradition treaty between the United States and Ghana? As of December last year, according to officials of the U.S. Embassy in Ghana, 9 people were extradited in the year 2025 alone. That's 9 Ghanaians extradited to the United States. There are a number of active cases of extraditions, as we're seeing, including Abu Trika, whom we understand yesterday from some sources which we are still working to officially confirm, but there have been reports that yesterday he was actually in court in the United States yesterday. And there's some details coming out of that, which we will tell you, but we'll have a bigger conversation beyond his particular case. And then also the concerns raised by others who are also looking at how authorities within the country can move in to also, clamp down on such situations of persons who exhibit opulence, unaccounted for wealth, or questionable wealth, regardless of who the person is. We'll have a conversation this morning here on The Key Point. Also this week here in Ghana, we saw Parliament do something very, very important. They've passed the Community Service Bill 2026, paving the way for the introduction of community service as an alternative to imprisonment for persons convicted of specified categories of offenses. We'll look at those specified categories of offenses today, and then also what this does to our jurisprudence as a country. How does this improve on justice delivery? What does it also do when it comes to matters of, as it were, the overcrowding of our prisons? We'll have a conversation this morning. Tied into that, the Parliament this week been very busy doing a number of things, including the Tribunals Bill that was also laid in Parliament. Well, the minority in Parliament opposed the reintroduction of the tribunal courts, arguing that it could, based on what they're saying, become an avenue for creating jobs for party loyalists to jail opponents. The minority addressed the press this week. In fact, this matter was raised on the floor of Parliament quite strongly. The Honorable Samuel Abujinapo was the one who led the charge on the floor of Parliament, matter of fact, for the minority, insisting that the existing structure under the Fourth Republic, which includes district magistrate courts, circuit courts, high courts, The Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court should rather be strengthened to improve justice delivery. There should be no room for reintroduction of tribunals. But the Attorney General and Minister of Justice of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Dominic Ayine, was quite clear in his words that this is the path that this government wants to take. Remember, it's a manifesto promise as well, captured in the NDC manifesto for the 2024 elections. Are the concerns and the fears of the minority grounded in fact and in evidence? And exactly what are the objectives of the government for the reintroduction of these tribunals? We would have a conversation this morning. As you do know, today is the second day or day two of the two-day cleanup exercise in the 7 regions that were hit by floods on the June 29 into June 30. Yesterday, the first day, saw quite a number of persons hit the ground, lead that charge to clean up these areas hit by the floods. Today, day 2, we would have a conversation on this as well, as we encourage as many of you who are watching us as well to take some time during the day to do some cleaning in and around your vicinity. My name is Alfred Okansi. Welcome. This is Key Point. We will be back shortly after this quick break. We have a big conversation on matters arising that are of key concern to you, Ghanaian people and our viewers. And we go straight to the point. We're live on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the city of London and the Voice of London television as well. Welcome. We will be back shortly. Stay with us.
The world around us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now. In a world full of noise, Clarity matters. Stories shape us. Ideas challenge us. An honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abnanya Kwasmini, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news. Join us with your thoughts and views, comments and opinions. We read out to you and to the rest of the world. As always, we're live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and a number of radio stations across the country. Martin Peeble is a private legal practitioner, is a member of the oral preparatory team. They've done their work, wrapped it up, and also a passionate Ghanaian who champions the campaign against indiscipline in the society. You people urinating around. And then also men above 40. When I clocked 40, I started thinking about you. Martin Peeble is joining us in the studio. Counsel, good morning.
Morning, Mr. Okansi. It's good to be here once again. You know, Ghana's #1 talk show, yeah? Helping to develop our country, popping the charts. We are unbreakable and unstoppable. Of course, thanks to the people of Ghana.
Absolutely.
The show is yours. Without you, there's no show. And thanks as always for your insights. People send messages, no, Counsel, this is not it, it's that way. We appreciate. Let's keep going. So
some good feedback we get as well. And in fact, this week we got some 7 letters or petitions. 3 out of them asking for a repeat of Key Point. Okay. Let me just say that Key Point is repeated. Maybe it's not the time of the repeat is what you don't like. But look, all those concerns you've brought is being considered by management. So just so you know. So I received those letters as well. So thank you. Thank you to our viewers. Counsel.
Yes, so I'll just mention how our people bring feedback, etc. So that just reminded me, my good friend, Dr. Kwesi Amankwa. Yeah, cool. Noche's friend, the Usumanche's friend. And Usumanche himself. Yes, these are people, you know, who give a lot of guidance and things. So we are grateful, this Ni and then Dr. Amankwa. And all the people who bring us a lot of feedback. Oh, of course, I've not forgotten Dr. Bashiru Kikimoto. Yeah, also a very ardent listener who gives a lot of feedback, etc. And all of them, we can't name them. Obviously, there's not enough time. Yeah, so once again, men above 40, a gentle plea that make the effort, go check, the proceed check, because it's very, very important so that it doesn't turn out that you go in late. They say after 40, it's mandatory. I keep saying, when you go, you know, men have always been scared of that anal, if I'll call it prodding or anal inspection. No, it's a blood test. It's only when they find that you are in the, realms of getting prostate cancer that they now extend it to the anal check, etc. So please, it's just a blood check. And those who urinate, please urinate outside. Let's stop. You see, it's part of the insanitary conditions we have, throwing rubbish. Yeah, urinating, you are depositing your waste at the wrong place. So it's the same as somebody throwing bola, this waste. It's the same because urine is also waste. So you are contributing to the flooding, right? Okay, thank you. And then my last comment, please, let's all get involved though. This extradition of Abu Trika, his co-conspirator Daniel Yusuf is yet to be. So get involved.
We're going to get into
this Assembly Common Fund matter. One last point. Look, so viewers, do you realize that the payment we've been making noise about, the payment that's made to the MP's personal accounts for that monitoring and evaluation, everybody is giving, that's every MP is giving the same sum of money. So that's whether an MP is inspecting and monitoring 5 projects or he's doing so for 100 projects, the same amount. So do you see that it doesn't look like money for monitoring and evaluation, money that's not commensurate with work done, but it's the same amount for every MP. So let's get involved. This is our democracy. It thrives when citizens get involved. Because how can you pay MPs that money into their personal accounts that the Auditor General cannot audit? And this is what we've been sitting with all these years. Auditor General doesn't audit. It's paid to them, and that's it. Whether they actually go and do monitoring and evaluation or not, there is no audit of their accounts. And then at the district level, regional, and then at the national level, you have teams for monitoring and evaluation. So why this duplication? Duplicity.
So this is an active case in court, right?
Yes. So I'm learning. Of course, I'm not arguing the facts. The law. I'm just talking about the facts. That rot that we've been sitting on.
It's important. Counsel, appreciate you. Thank you for this. And look, just on that prostrate check, it's not painful. I mean, I did mine this last week.
Oh, excellent.
After your consistent advocacy and encouragement. So please, it's not painful. Just go and do it, and also be on guard. Check. Men above 40. So if you are 40 years and above, go and do it. It's important. Also joining us, Amanda Clinton is a private legal practitioner. She is also a lawyer, very passionate about the matters of extradition and international law. She is joining us from Sierra Leone on Zoom right now. Amanda, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. How's Sierra Leone treating you?
Sorry?
How is Sierra Leone treating you this morning?
Good. Rainy as usual, but it's good. It's raining season.
I see. Well, we're also in the rainy season, so you are not far away from home when it comes to that experience. Also, yes. Perfect. Thank you for joining us. Joining us as well this morning is Honorable Andy Appiah-Kubi, is former member of Parliament for the Asante Achim North constituency, also a private legal practitioner. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. It's been a while.
It has been a while indeed.
I haven't seen my friend for a long time, so...
The name of the businessman. The name of the businessman today. The man who carried money to Parliament.
I will not forget Martin for nothing.
You were exposing.
For his consistency and his request.
Yes, we need to strengthen our democracy.
But at some point, I know you put up, at least in your memoir before you leave us.
But I guess Martin knows who the fingers are pointing
yes.
to, so I will.
So I want you to name him straight.
Okay. Thank you very much, Andy Appiah-Kubi. Thank you for joining us. And shortly joining us as well.
Yamin is looking very handsome.
No, he's looking younger.
You see the
younger.
pressure is gone.
The pressure is gone.
Somehow, you see, it's not always juicy parliamentary work.
Yeah.
It is not too good.
Yeah.
But, of course, somebody must do the wrong things.
Yeah.
It's important,
nice.
indeed.
After all, when you're out of Parliament, there is still life.
Yeah.
As I always preach, that before you get into public space in politics, prepare yourself by way of a fallback position.
Yeah.
So that when duty dishonors you, then you know where to start again in life.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Perfect there. One other man who is looking younger. He says I should say he's looking younger.
He's my junior brother, so he should
joining us is Mike Okoye Jr.
Oh, you're fine.
I've not even spoken.
So we come from the same father.
Mike Okoye Jr. is former Ghana High Commissioner to India. He served in different capacities to contribute to the development of this country, Resource Authority and many others. Still seeking to get into Parliament. You haven't abandoned that dream, have you?
No. The will to serve is still very high.
Dom Kwabenya.
Yes. I want to be like Appiah-Kubi.
You see, one thing that I try to call your attention to is that we come from the same line of training. And we need to honor the memory of Professor Mike Okoye, who put us through education, myself and him, and probably Martin, beneficiary of his excellent tutorials.
And legal education and legal cooperation. We've done a lot of cases
So I say good morning to Professor, wherever he is this morning.
Yes.
His sons are here. We'll do him honor.
Important indeed. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And let me just put it on record as well. He's an ardent viewer of Key Point every now and then. Professor Aaron Mike Okoye, every now and then would.
Oh, okay. So Prof may be watching.
Yes.
We wouldn't disappoint him.
Yes. One of political science. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
A lot in the political science of the University of Ghana.
Right. Thank you very much for joining us. Godwin Edudzi Tamaklo is the Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, also a private legal practitioner. So it's a bench this morning of lawyers this is an intellectual bar, not any other bar. this morning. So we'll have a big conversation. Not above your heads. But,
where is he?
But one that will bring the issues to bear this morning. But this is it. And this is one that has got a number of you talking. And it's obviously for good reason. Emmanuel Obeng Kumi, you know him as Abu Trika. He has been extradited to the United States. And regarding this over $8 million romance scam that he's alleged to have been involved in. Videos have popped up on social media with him in the plane arriving, and we also have reports that he was actually in court yesterday. He pleaded not guilty to the 2 counts of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, money laundering. But this was the first release from the United States Attorney's Office, the Northern District of Ohio, regarding Abu Trika. That is Ghanaian national charged with running romance scam that took over $8 million from elderly Americans. And they give the details. Emmanuel Kojo Ba Obeng, also known as Abu Trika, 31 years, Swedru, Ghana. This we captured directly from the U.S. State Attorney's website. And this was as of December 11, 2025. After Abu Trika, there have been a number of instances of Ghanaians being arrested as well for their alleged involvement in romance scam. The latest was sometime in May when another Ghanaian was named. We have that release as well, which we'll show you. But this is regarding Abu Trika's specific case. Arrested in Ghana on December 11, 2025. His arrest was a subject of conversation whether or not the conduct and the manner in which he was arrested was right and so on. According to the indictment, perpetrators of this romance scam used artificial intelligence software to assume false identities and form close personal relationship with victims. They gain victims' trust to obtain money and valuables, often targeting individuals through social media and online dating platforms under false pretenses. And then they request money, valuables under false pretenses such as urgent medical needs, goes on and on. And relying on this, the victims then send money. And with respect to Abu Trika's alleged involvement, the indictment also alleged that after the victims transferred funds, Abu Trika worked with a network of co-conspirators to distribute the money from Ohio and across the United States to associates in Ghana and other locations. The specific associates in this matter were not named, at least not now. He's charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, money laundering conspiracy, and a forfeiture specification. Faces up to 20 years in prison if found guilty. That is, if convicted, he'll be determined by a court of competent jurisdiction. And let's also put it that the U.S. itself says an indictment is only a charge and it's not evidence of guilt. A defendant is entitled to a fair trial in which it is the government's burden to prove guilt beyond any reasonable doubt. So that's why Abu Trika is going to go through the legal process in the United States. And that process has started as of yesterday, as far as we know. He was in court. He has pleaded not guilty to the 2 charges. And this is what has happened. And this particular operation was in collaboration with the Attorney General's Office, IOCO, everybody, that's the Narcotics Control Commission, Cybersecurity Authority. They were all involved in this matter. His lawyers say his extradition is a travesty of justice and a disrespect to our courts. I want to find out from you, first of all, Lawyer Martin Kpebu, how this gets to you regarding this extradition of Abu Trika and matters arising.
Yeah, so the first is I share his lawyer's sentiment.
Why?
Because, you see, when he says there is disrespect to the court, it's because there are pending proceedings. You see, there are pending proceedings. He filed for stay of execution, right, which is before the court. And you see, in law, the other lawyers here will tell you, in law, we have this principle that, you see, generally, once proceedings are pending, there's a general principle of contempt that don't do anything that brings the proceedings or makes a mockery, right? That brings the administration of justice into disrepute. So listen, we all know that, let's speak straight to the facts and then speak candidly. We all know that someday, somehow, it is possible that they would have extradited Abutreika. Okay,
that was definitely going to come.
You know, we're hoping to delay it as much as possible until Ofori-Atta is also brought, or we do an exchange. At the time we are handing over Abutreika and Daniel Yusuf and co, then we are receiving Ofori-Atta. So as for extradition, it wasn't a problem. The only problem is that Ofori-Atta is not coming early. So my point is that once there were proceedings, but this is not the first day we are making that point. So once there were proceedings before the court, you don't ignore the proceedings and take him. So it's contemptuous of the court. If Oliver chooses to file, there will be trouble. Once there are proceedings, and listen, it doesn't even matter that you are not aware. If you are not aware that there are proceedings and you do it, what it does is that's when I say you do it, that's you, excuse me, you undertake any conduct that renders the proceedings a nullity. Because when he says he wants stay of execution, etc., it means that don't send him yet, don't extradite him yet. And it doesn't matter, that's why I say it doesn't matter that you know that, the judge will throw this thing out. That's not an excuse. Wait for the judge to throw it out. But it's not for you to look at it and say, this thing is so porous, it's so weak, banal, it will be thrown out. So ipso facto, you are sending the person out. No, we have a lot of decisions. In the second republic, under 69 constitution, there was a minister of interior, Dombo. This Olympian matter. Dombo was convicted of contempt. Straight. Well, sometimes they say we shouldn't use the word convicted because it's not a criminal offense. So maybe we can say was found liable or committed for contempt. No, it's not a criminal. But it's not the same as criminal. It's not. You don't get a criminal conviction when you are committed
and sentenced to serve.
Yes, but it's not. It's not a criminal offense. So you better say committed or found liable in contempt. Dombo, Minister of State, and in it the court made it clear that the fact that you don't even know that there is a court matter concerning what you've done is not an excuse. It doesn't mean that you are not liable in contempt. You'll be found liable, but when it comes to the punishment, because you didn't know at all that there was anything in the court, then perhaps that's when they will give you a warning or a fine, something small. But in this case, the Attorney General had been served. And in this case, if Oliver is going to file contempt, it's not only against the Attorney General. It will involve my good friend Okujeto, the Foreign Minister. Because we tell you, extradition is a political matter. And even President Mahama, all of them. But then you begin to see that, do you want to cite all of them for contempt? It will begin to look a bit unwieldy. I say so because I remember, you can ask Afenyo Markin. The time Chief Justice Wood was Chief Justice, there was something President Mahama did. And then I think a pending proceeding, and then the government took an action. Afenyo Markin said, I will cite them for contempt outside. The Chief Justice Wood said, Mr. Markins, I advise you to think carefully about this step.
Yeah, you could do it, but whether you could realize the same results is another matter.
I always remember it. Mr. Markins, I advise you to think carefully about this result. You are bringing your president to court for contempt, etc. I don't think Afenyo Markins did it this filing. So I think that must have been 2015 or 2016. Yeah, I remember it being in court that day. So, but it's very shameful. It's a shameful thing. No, the government shouldn't have done that. Wait, what's the inordinate rush? So the point is that, is there a loan we are looking for from the US? When you see this inordinate rush, it means that there is something we critically need from the US at this point.
Is that your reading of this?
Yes. When things happen like this, where there's a matter pending before a judge, and you know that Ghanaians have become very savvy. They become savvy. Why this inordinate rush? So let's look and see what loan. The first thing you'll be thinking about is maybe government needs a loan. Because to do this, to disrespect our court. It's analysis. I'm allowed to. No, you don't call it. It's an educated guess based on the way governments
What I want to find out is, you say that the end objective of the extradition was definitely going to happen.
Most probably. As I said, provided they brought down Ofori-Atta.
Yes. So your issue was what we were going to, or what we were going to get in return.
Absolutely.
So why don't we just see how the coming days will look like? See what we're going to get in return.
Ofori-Atta is not coming within the next 6 months, right? It doesn't look like it because it's not even attended court once. So we don't even know whether. Look, in actual fact, let me tell you some of the things. The things we took there when we talk. The OSP charges, the Americans have said it, that the charges don't look good. They don't look good. Yes. They don't look good. So we are now suturing the charges, trying to put them together, etc. CTC Ejabi, why I say you should resign, you don't understand. You can interview him. When we sent the packet, he said, these charges you said, they are bogus. Ask CTC Ejabi, interview him. So they are now trying to help suture the charges, do things. So Ofori-Atta is not about coming. Of course, though, you see, but when they say the things are bogus, it's not that I'm supporting the Americans. No. Okay. It can be a ploy to delay his coming. Because remember that Ofori-Atta has, what do you call him? Danny Ashcroft. Okay? Johnny Ashcroft is a lobbyist. So, you know, there are various ways of killing a cat. They can intentionally come and say, oh, your charges don't look good. Bring this, bring that. Dilly-dally. Dilly-dally, sir, before you realize 2 years. Then to say, your charges don't look good by our law. So we're trying to help you. So on the face of it, because the reason I'm saying that that's not a good reason is that, look, when U.S. interest is involved, when it suits them, they will just pick Ofori-Atta and bring him to us. Have you heard the word rendition? Rendition is the cousin to extradition. When they see the extradition is too difficult, what they do is rendition. They'll just pick you, bundle you, and bring you. Many from Afghanistan, Syria, those. America has rendered many people. You can Google and see the literature on rendition. I'm not supporting it, but I'm just saying that the reason I'm bringing it is that rendition hasn't stopped. When the U.S. finds it suitable to their national interest, they will just render you. They'll just pick the person and bring him. They don't care about extradition when their national interest is involved. So this thing that our charges don't look good, things are missing, this, so put this here, correct this, do that. It can be a ploy because as long as rendition exists, if it were the case that the whole world has now accepted that rendition has been outlawed, no country can render any person, then I would believe them. So as long as there's rendition, meaning that in this case, if they were to render Ofori-Atta to Ghana, everybody will be happy because, why is the man hiding behind Johnny Ashcroft, the lobbyists, etc., to delay? That's what they're doing. Then they say, oh, go and amend this, your charges. Your charges have issues. This is missing. This is... No. I know. Yes, that can be there. But I'm also saying that it can be used as a ploy to delay its coming. Right. So far from what we're saying, Ofori-Atta is not near going to court. Because now they are suturing, I mean, when I say suturing, sorry, I don't know what I'm just saying. They are trying to tidy up, trying to amend the charges, tie them together, sew them together, and prop them up. That's what they're saying. But as I said, let's be careful. We cannot totally accept that. As long as there is rendition, they can render him. They can render Ofori-Atta to Ghana.
So that's another
it's an option
we can use. Okay, thank you. Now, so, and bringing you on the Apiakobi on this. The matter is not, and if I get the understanding of Lawyer Matikbebo, you're not being against the extradition because that was an outcome that was certainly going to come. That is based on the information that he also knows regarding this Abu Trika matter. It was definitely going to happen. But the employment of the delay to get an assurance of what we're getting in return because of the extradition treaty we have. As much as we've extradited, as far as we do know, in 2025, 9 Ghanaians were extradited in 2025 alone. This is the U.S. Embassy in Ghana's own information. That between January 1 and December 2025, we had 9 Ghanaians extradited for various reasons, much of it being this matter of romance camps, alleged romance camps as well. So that's an issue, which we'll get into. But let's just recall exactly what the U.S. official, that's the charge des affaires of the United States, the chargé d'affaires of the United States office, that's the embassy in Ghana, will get a name shortly and giving details of exactly what this particular issue of the extradition of Ghanaians to the United States is. And that the details as we had it was as of December 9, 2025, there are 9 Ghanaians who had been extradited. Rolf Olsen. Take a look at this.
On law enforcement and the rule of law. So this year, since President Mohammed took office, obviously he took office at the beginning of the year, Ghana has extradited 9 individuals to the United States. And so it's extradition, right? It's a formal legal process where we have criminal charges against somebody in the United States. We go through a formal legal process to make a request that someone often be arrested first because they may not necessarily be in prison, and then are legally and sent to the United States to stand trial. And everyone gets a fair trial. They're not guilty. Nobody will be firmly innocent until proven guilty. And 9 individuals from Ghana in 1 year is an extraordinary achievement, and the cooperation with the government, obviously with the president, with the Attorney General, the Interior Minister, has been extraordinary. It's been really, really strong collaboration. Just yesterday, they arrested someone who we have an extradition request for, and we're very pleased about that. Extraditions always take a little bit of time to sort of finalize, but it's been really, 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 really important. And talking about who some of these people are, there's public announcements about this. Most of them have been involved in cyber crime, or what we call elder crime. And so what they're impersonating individuals online and defrauding individuals of collectively millions of dollars. So most of the people who've been sent this year are that. The individual arrested yesterday, we believe, has stolen at least $2 million. And the reason we're asking for them is because they've stolen to Americans. Cybercrime, the borders don't really matter, right? These people can victimize anyone, and maybe they have, we don't know. But these are the kinds of people who, obviously, if proven in court, they should be in prison. They shouldn't be out being able to take advantage of particularly older people. Although any of us, I think, obviously would be horrified at the idea of being a victim of this kind of crime. So it's about upholding the rule of law, and so one example to give of how excellent the collaboration has been. Very efficient, very effective, and we're very proud to stand with them in that regard.
So that's the Chargé d'Affaires of the U.S. Embassy in Ghana, Rolf Olsen, there, giving some details of what's happened, at least in the year 2025. The 9 Ghanaians extradited, in how many of our interests fulfilled by the United States. That's where your concern is. I see.
Yes, Alfred, number one, I don't agree with my good friend who says that extradition was a matter of fact to happen in only a few days.
No,
except that they ought to have waited for the process to be taken in court before. I agree with you that the process ought to have been taken before, but nobody could determine the fate of that process for us to conclusively say that he was to be extradited by all means. No, I don't agree with that one. So I think that it is true that when the process was before, probably before the same court, then I don't see why the process was not taken before the action that ought to have followed the determination of that process. I don't know. Probably it was not before the same court. Probably the court was not seized with information of the pendency of that process. So we will excuse the court if the court made orders without knowledge of a pending process before the court.
Let's correct this.
But if it was
let's correct this. You see, the extradition order, all right, it's made by the district court. It's not the high court. Yes. So that order was made by the Bese district court some months ago. So to go out, it's not a high court.
From Bese.
Yes. So let's just straighten it so that to make your argument stronger. So the district court, made the order that it should be extradited some months ago.
Right.
Then Oliver rightly went to the high court and got bail. So it stultified it.
And was this come first in the application for bail? to the knowledge of that court.
Yes. So
Right.
of course you show the judge evidence that he's been there's an order, he's been committed to be extradited, blah blah blah. So the High Court, Alawa Bassett Justice Alima, right? Bassett
Granted the bail.
Granted the bail, and that's good. It strengthened our system. Okay. Then some months later, you know, the Attorney General was hauled to the U.S. That's why I said, someone to
Why
the
you
U.S.
say he was hauled?
Yes, let's say it. Look, we are not joking. We are not Iran.
Do you know that he was hauled, or there was a
Yes,
visit?
we have
Because
to
I
put
know
it strongly. Then you will see that there's some. You see, we are not angry enough. Look, this is a very serious matter. Matters pending before our courts, and yet you have our government extradite somebody. So it tells you that there's some force at play, something that's overwhelmed us. So let me just quickly. It helps. This is the fact. So the judge granted bail. Then fast forward, when the AG returned from the US, as I said, I don't know what we are getting in return. Then quickly they brought back the case record. Then the judge revoked the bail. Then Oliver now files again to hold the bail. So that's a stay of execution, blah, blah, blah. So that is what is pending. So the judge has revoked the bail, meaning that now you can take Abu Trika to the US. But Oliver is filed process back and forth. And that is what is pending and then still. So this is a rendition. What Ghana is done is not extradition. This is a rendition.
Let's go to the process.
That's what you disagree with.
Let's go to the process.
Yes.
Okay.
Pursuant to the refusal of the bail or the failure of the bail application, whichever is the case, was there any appeal against that decision?
Exactly, all of those.
Was there an appeal against the decision?
That's what I'm saying. You can put Oliver on.
That will situate the stay of execution.
Oh yes, basic, but that would be basic.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
If that was the case,
yes.
If there was a stay application pending, had not been taken, then one would presume that it ought to have been taken before the next activity of the extradition.
But was there a stay of execution?
Yes.
Okay, that's okay.
And you can put Oliver back.
I'm qualifying all my presentation if there was. Then, of course, procedurally, it was wrong for us to have gone ahead without considering the pending application. So that one, I agree with you. But again, I'm not also in agreement when you say that there was a return package for which we were influenced to take the action we took as a country.
Oh, absolutely.
You see, you don't need any motivation beyond the determination of the various courts to do that which was done. So I am not in agreement to say that.
So you breach your own laws, disrespect your own courts.
Please,
for nothing.
Please. I will not make a submission that I cannot justify. That there was something, the package waiting for Ghana. For his region, we had to do that. I don't know about that. I cannot.
I know about that.
Well, so inform us. Let us know what American government had put in place for us to justify the.
They call it quid pro quo. That's their word.
So if you don't have that information, in fact, in the year in 1983 thereabout, some Ghanaians were also extradited.
Susudis.
And in return, we had some Ghanaians also extradited to Ghana. So that is a possibility. But I'm not aware of any such package now which will justify any such action. So I cannot speculate like that.
Don't call it speculation.
He doesn't know what you know. So
you see, and again, the district court would have granted that order to extradite. And you know, it is a possibility within our laws. And indeed, we in Ghana, we also have the Extradition Act of 1960, which is still in operation.
Yes.
And there are only two conditions that we need to satisfy for the court to make such a determination. And one of these is that whether or not we as a country, we have any such arrangement with the requesting country. And in this case, the answer is yes.
Yes, we do.
And whether or not it is not a matter affecting a political question. And the answer is no. And in any case, if we have satisfied these two preliminary conditions, then the court, and if there has been also an order from the receiving jurisdiction that there is a request for extradition, when these three conditions have been met, then the court would not normally, ordinarily, accede to the request. So that is what was done. The only hinge about the process is the pending application, which I agree with Martin. So it could have. And again, I say that did that come to the notice of the court, of the High Court? So the High Court also haven't taken any decision in that. So if the District Court was seized with knowledge of a pending application like that, then probably it would have withheld the request. Again, even if the request was granted and the action had not been taken, the Foreign Affairs Ministry would have said that, well, let's hold on, because he was in lawful custody. So let's hold on until this one is taken. And then in respect to our statutes and also in respect to our judicial system. So that one, I agree. There was no need for any rush. In any case, I'm not saying that the court was wrong in accepting the extradition request. It was in order. And again, we have this arrangement. And again, the question is not a political question. So personally, I think that nothing has been done. And in any case, I agree with Martin again when he says that the extradition order and then the extradition itself does not constitute any offense or any crime or any acceptance of commission of crime. So what we need to do is that he should be given the necessary opportunities and time to prepare his defense. And here, what I will advocate is for him to be given proper legal representation, for him to be able to defend himself.
As far as we do know, that is actually being done.
And again, in this case, at the expense of the requesting country. So, and don't also let us forget that he has a right to determine who represents him, even in the jurisdiction that he is not familiar with.
True.
And the state of the United States should give him the opportunities to also select the representation that he has confidence in, and so the cost of such representation be borne by, because of course, come to think of it, until he is proven to be guilty, he has not done anything.
As per the reports so far, his appearance in court yesterday, as has been reported, he had legal counsel. He had a lawyer, and he pleaded not guilty to those 2 counts. The detention waiver has been executed. A jury trial has been set for September 8, 2026.
When you say he was represented by a lawyer of his choice or a selected one, it's very important.
The information I have doesn't point to that.
Yeah, it's very important. No, but he has a right to refuse that one. And he has a right to select.
A lawyer of his choice.
Yes, of his choice.
Okay,
so the representation itself is not adequate to fulfill that expectation.
Well, Godwin Eduji Tamaklo is Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority and a private legal practitioner in good standing. Lady Tamaklo, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Some of you who are not.
Alfred, good morning, and good morning to the religious sects.
Indeed.
The people who listen to Key Point, it has gotten to a point of religiosity.
Indeed.
They more like a ritual for them on Saturday. Today, I'm sandwiched by my learned seniors today, and I strongly believe that I'll be. They will impact me with the received learning and from experience and everything. So, good morning to my learned senior Martin, Andy, and then Ambassador.
The small boy who washes his hands well.
Amen.
Eats with.
And then Ambassador, of course, Michael Quay. He's also. We are all in the same constituency, and when I was coming, I was listening to the radio, and he says you'll come again. He needs to pass the party, his party, first, and come and meet the formidable Eliklem Akrugu. She's waiting for.
Did she tell you that?
Oh yes, of course.
Let him speak. I'll respond
accordingly. Thank you.
Then you will respond accordingly.
Thank you very much. Right.
Yeah, but I mean, so this morning, and then of course, Amanda, good morning to you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. But let's go to Amanda so that I'll come to you. Michael Quay Jr. In fact, Amanda wrote a piece on this, which I received yesterday. Ghana must not become a conveyor belt for foreign prosecutors. Exactly why do you think we are becoming one? Reason why you put together this long piece?
It was quite a short piece, but thank you. I really think it's about the integrity of extradition. It's about due process, judicial authority, and ultimately Ghana's authority. Because although I do agree with what the State Department said on the 17th of June, when our Honourable Attorney General went over, that this is a shared commitment to fight fraud, cybercrime, and transnational and organized crime. As you know, the representative from the U.S. State or the U.S. Department in Ghana said, we've had 9 extraditions in 1 year alone under the current administration, and it's an extraordinary achievement, he said. And he also mentioned about upholding the rule of law. And in upholding the rule of law, it's also about, you know, the date of him being committed to prison to await his surrender, because from that date, he had at least 15 days to do a habeas corpus application. And so if it's that date counts from the 2nd of July, then he had technically up to the 17th of July, and yet he was in US territory pleading not guilty to federal charges on the 10th of July. And as my learned senior said, lawyer Martin Pegu, that, you know, we all know that quite possibly he could have been, very likely he could have been extradited. But the period from, you know, the 2nd of July to the 17th of July wasn't that long. And what was the rush if we are so sure about due process, etc.? And at that habeas corpus review, for instance, 3 questions would have been asked: the identity, the jurisdiction and authority, and the probable cause. And of course, if his lawyers couldn't answer those questions, he would be on a flight. But I definitely don't think we should just rubber stamp these foreign prosecutions as easily as we do. If we look at countries such as even Sierra Leone, for instance, there is layered stages to even extradite. And, you know, I think even the Attorney General can independently say no, et cetera, et cetera. So just like in America, it takes at least 5 years on average to extradite a person. And if they, for instance, don't object to being extradited, they come back in 2 years, as we saw with the lady who just returned recently. So I definitely think it's about the integrity of our extraditions. It's not about defending fraud or anybody committing fraud. And it's also Ghana sort of taking a slightly higher ground in terms of, I do also agree with lawyer Martin Pegu in what he said about, is this quid pro quo? Because all of a sudden we had an MP sitting in the Netherlands and the nation was in uproar. The politicians from the NDC side seemed to be in uproar, and we said we were going to hold off on these extraditions until we saw like a 2-way stream. And after the 17th of June, meaning after the Attorney General went, he said to the press it was an amazingly good set of meetings, amazingly good. So we take from that as educated lawyers, and that's why Martin Pegu was speaking as he did, that something came out of those meetings in terms of quid pro quo, et cetera, be it for extraditions or be it for some sort of financial gain to Ghana. But in all this sort of quid pro quo territory, we can't be looked at as just having absolute submission to U.S. authority when we do have due process. We have our own laws, we have our own judiciary, and it's about the integrity of extradition. And as I keep on saying, from the 2nd of July, when that final decision was reached, to the 17th of July, which is a 15-day period that is in the Extradition Act, Act 2022 or Act 22, what would it have hurt to wait to at least the 17th? But right now, we've got a Ghanaian citizen pleading not guilty on the 10th, and there's absolutely no way of reversing it. But we could have waited, I think, until at least the 17th. And as the FBI is also being very, and rightfully so, cybercrime and transnational crime and organized crime is huge, and they must send a message that they will pick you up anywhere, and they should. But also, with the FBI, it's also about how are they dealing with the Epstein files, for instance, because that also involves transnational organized crime and money laundering and extortion and, all sorts of things in relation to blackmail. They were using a lot of the tapes on the guys to blackmail them, et cetera, and yet not a single person internationally or within America has been picked up by the FBI with the Epstein files, except one woman who is in jail, etc. So not that we're measuring the Epstein files against something like this, but when you look at the bigger picture, it's not just about picking up these cyber criminals without complete due process on our side, but looking at holistically how everything sits together. And ultimately, it's about our sovereignty, and it's about due process, and it's about the integrity of our extraditions, first and foremost, I think.
Reading this piece you shared with me, and there's one part which I just want to separate the issues. You say this is not about defending fraud, that Ghana must never become a hiding place for people accused of romance fraud, cyber fraud, money laundering, or any form of transnational crime. If a person has a case to answer, then they definitely would have to answer.
Yes.
But your issue is with the extradition. Why do you say it's not supposed to be automatic? What do you mean?
Because as the representative from the U.S. State Department or from the U.S. Embassy that just spoke on the show, in terms of the recording you just played, as he also said, it's about upholding the rule of law. And so in upholding the rule of law, we're doing this so we uphold our rule of law because we have sovereignty and we have due process and we have judicial authority and we have the integrity of extradition. So for instance, if that 15-day window, started from the 2nd of July, for instance, that's the date of him being committed to prison to await surrender. Ghana's Extradition Act under Section 7, I think, says there is a 15-day protection window from that time. So that would have run out on the 17th of July, and yet we find one of our citizens pleading not guilty on the 10th of July on US territory. So it's all about sovereignty, it's all about due process, and it's all about if we only had to wait to the 17th of July for a judge to, rule on a habeas corpus application, whether she agreed with that or not, why couldn't we have waited to then? It's not a long period to the 17th of July. And so we can't enter this slippery slope because, as the US representative also said, it's extraordinary that under this government, we've had 9 extraditions. And I think the last government in particular, they were approached about extraditions, et cetera, but first and foremost, it's always about, this is a Ghanaian citizen, do we so easily extradite? And if so, let us put some hurdles in. So that's my argument really, the integrity of the extradition, due process, judicial authority, and Ghana's sovereignty, because a Ghanaian passport means something. So if we only had to wait to the 17th of July, what was the rush and why did it need to be done so quickly?
Amanda, thank you very much, Amanda Clinton, for this. But due process, the integrity of the extradition and Ghana's sovereignty, essentially. But it did not happen in a vacuum. This is the law that provides exactly what happened, the legal framework that guided what has happened regarding Abutrika and others who have been extradited. The Extradition Act 1960 Act 22. I recall Amatikpebu says there has to be a second look at this because there's been a number of things happen. The law must respond to the exigencies of our time. Section 1, specific to the application of Part 1, where an arrangement has been made with any country. And that's what Honorable Apiakubi, you referenced, where an arrangement has been made with any country with respect to the surrender to that country of any fugitive criminals, the President, by legislative instrument, may order that this act shall apply in the case of that country, subject to such conditions, exceptions, and qualifications as may be specified in the order, and this part shall apply accordingly. Michael Quay, Jr. Is there any question about the integrity of the extradition? Really?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Greetings to everyone on the platform today, and especially the viewers. But my brother Eduji, don't worry. Just like our brother Amewu borrowed the seat in Hohoe, your sister has just borrowed the seat from the MPP for a bit, so don't worry. We shall come. Let me make my point. When you spoke, I was quiet. I was quiet. You don't talk. We have also lent you the seat. We all know some of the internal issues that led to that matter. But I want to assure him that those internal issues have been resolved, and by the grace of God, we will take the seat back to continue to serve the people of Dome-Kwabenya. Rest assured. Now, this Extradition Act, Act 22, as it's popularly called, it's a very simple act. What does it say? It says that basically this process requires a formal request. That has been done. Mm-hmm. It requires judicial hearing. That has been done. Then it says
it starts from an arrangement between the countries.
Yes, I mean that has all been done, because the formal request is arrangement, where they must have an arrangement between them to be able to do that kind of thing. So that is the base. Then, most importantly, sufficient evidence to justify surrender. Mm. This is a key part of this Extradition Act. And just like Amanda said, and previously Martin also insisted, I just think that we could have waited a bit, just so that the evidence and the process has sufficient time to deal with the person's human rights. Look, if Abutrika is extradited next year, it doesn't kill anyone.
Exactly.
As long as he has been given all the time to be able to go through the process. Now, we know that this romance scam problem is a big one. I mean, it's developed a sort of transnational, international dimension where cybercrime is basically a big problem at the moment. And I know that most governments, including even the previous government, I don't know what the situation is now with this government, maybe Eduji can educate us. I want him to tell us two things. One, maybe why the rush, because maybe there's a particular reason other than all the quid pro quo and all the rest that has been suggested here. And Martin said loan.
Yeah, loan.
And all of that. We need an explanation on that. And we need to understand that, look, why is a Ghanaian's human rights so frivolous that it just seems to be quite rampant recently? I mean, before we've always had extradition, but we've had them, prolonged, make sure that the Ghanaian, remember, a Ghanaian's government interest or Attorney General interest is the Ghanaian, not America. That is the first thing. We want to work with them in terms of international law. We want to stop cybercrime and all the rest of it. But we are not in the process of just surrendering our citizens. My brother Okansi, you remember recently we had a case with the Russians. You remember? Where the Russians told us that, yes, they will look into the evidence that will bring them and if possible, prosecute him. But they will not extradite him because as a Russian citizen, their first priority is to protect him. I don't necessarily agree with that angle, but you could see a certain willingness to protect their citizen in that instance. So this is what we should look at. Because look, what are some of the things that happened?
In that particular area, there was an issue that we didn't have any treaty.
I know, we don't have
Russia.
it. Yes, I understand.
So, you know, that may not be a very good reference.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that's why I didn't go with that angle. I went with the willingness to sort of stand for their citizen.
Okay.
That is what they actually hinted on. As for the rest, even through diplomatic channels, where there is no treaty, there can be some sort of discussion where through bilateral relations, it can be put aside. So there are always exceptions to the rule if applied. But for me, the main area that I wanted to look at was they just kept saying our citizen, our citizen, our citizen. And sometimes I'm just saying, whether it's any government, in particular this government, they must also be heard to be saying a bit, our citizen, our citizen, our citizen. It's very important. Look, what are some of the things that we're looking at? The Accra High Court affirmed the extradition. That's the order requiring him to be transferred to the United States. And this was done because of this alleged $8 million, fraud that he's been accused of. July 9th, he has been extradited. In fact, some people think he's still there and he's actually gone. He's in the United States now.
Oh, yes.
And for me, what I find strange is that this is a big setback because this man's bail, the 30 million bail with the sureties and all of it, this matter was dealt with in April. All of a sudden, in July, on the 2nd, the Accra High Court dismissed his legal challenges against the Gbese District Court, and by the 9th, he was out of the country. And all his protests, because we do this through the legal courts, have been set aside. And we are looking at a situation where our citizen, even though his matter is still pending in our courts of competent jurisdiction, he has been shipped away. I don't think that is right. Because I don't think America will send their citizen to us when they still have matters pending in their courts. I don't think that is something that would happen. And part of fair trial in our own constitution of Article 19 is that the court process must be fully exhausted. And I think that he wasn't granted that, opportunity. So generally, it's a bit of a conundrum. And that's why I said that I'm happy that my brother Eduji is here so that he can tell us what was the rush, what was the haste, as my brother mentioned, inordinate haste. Why was he moved so quickly within this July 2nd to 9th as if something was chasing them? And especially as it coincides with the recent visit of the Attorney General to the United States. What was the understanding? Were there some circumstances which we were not aware of and which has come to light, whereby he has to go tomorrow morning? Is it true that we're getting certain benefits from it? And so therefore, we can sacrifice our own citizens to be able to get those benefits for ourselves. And it makes diplomatic sense. We want to know, because when we have a government that we have voted for, we want to hold them to the fire. We want to be able to ask them questions that citizens are not able to understand under these circumstances. So these are some of my first take on this extradition matter. And for me, the question that adds to it, which is whether Ghana benefits or not, should not be the litmus test. The test should be, have we treated our citizen fairly? Have we applied the rule of law fairly. If that has been done, then I think that we should look at the benefit of the Ghanaian citizen instead of the benefit of the Ghanaian government.
But also you asked a question about whether there's been sufficient evidence to justify the surrender and what has happened now.
Yes.
That's what we don't know.
Yes, but, that's what I'm saying. So, how will you know that? Yeah, how will you know that if you've not allowed the court process to be fully exhausted? I'm just saying that there shouldn't be any rush. July 2nd to 3rd seems to be a rush. That is all I'm saying. Within that 1 week, bam, get on the plane, go. Why?
Well, Gitamaklo is here, and whether this is a rush or the integrity of the extradition process, because he's not the only one who has been extradited, at least within this period under review. There's been a number of them based on the information that the United States itself put out. The FBI Assistant Director in charge of operations, Christopher Ayer, this $100 million, remember this $100 million matter that the FBI was looking into these individuals, Isaac Odro Boateng, Inusa Ahmed, Derek Van Yeboah, Patrick Kwame Asari. These are instances as well that Ghanaians have been extradited and so on. So what is the exact issue with this particular one?
Okay, so I think I want to look at this conversation. It's a very vast one. I want to approach it with a bit of caution, in the sense that usually when a certain notoriety is established, that nationals of a particular country are involved in such organized crime, and if you look at the magnitude of the amounts involved, $100 million, that's huge. It creates a certain agency within government to show that there are no official complicity in those offenses, and that the named individuals involved are doing it at the level, at their individual level. There's also that tendency, particularly for the Americans, to have this view that because of the wealth that these individuals might have garnered, through this enterprise, obviously unlawful, they might have some influence, which influence usually gets them to, as it were, want to, control the system. And so there's always that posturing by government to try to, as it were, show that, look, you know what, government is not involved. And if there's anything by way of cooperation from government, we are willing to cooperate. That usually comes with unintended consequences, because then you need to do a balancing act beyond respect for due process, and also possibly the reputation of the country as well. And I'll tell you a vivid story. If you recall, between 2006, 2007, there was this whole talk about drug in the country. So President Kufuor was under so much pressure. In fact, what actually broke the camel's back was the MV Benjamin saga. So when the MV Benjamin thing came, because apparently the Americans, the Drug Enforcement Agency and co, has shared this intel that they had picked this information that there was a vessel or a ship moving from the South Americans to Ghana, MV Adade. Then subsequently, this intel that was shared got leaked. So the story was that on the high seas, this ship, MV Adade, was repainted into MV Benjamin to conceal its identity. Eventually, the stories associated with MV Benjamin became a matter of notoriety, to the extent that the president at that time, President Kufuor, was forced to set up the Georgina Wood Committee. You recall? With Georgina Wood Committee, among others, at that time, they used to sit at the Ministry of Interior. So I used to attend the committee, proceedings in that time, 2006 to 2007, thereabout.
Right.
Eventually, what happened was that the committee recommended the prosecution of some individuals, and even some law enforcement officers. And for obvious reason, I do not want to mention their name.
And this is to do with extradition.
Oh, please.
Oh, I'm just saying sometimes you to direct him a bit. Because we have references.
Hold on.
Abu Trika, why is...
Hold on.
Look how
you asked the
President Kufuor.
You asked the question. I have asked the question.
You didn't ask that question.
Hold on. Yes.
So the point I am making is that at that time, even the hurried manner in which some individuals were prosecuted raised serious eyebrows. And I remember the prosecution of Tagore, among others in that matter, which eventually got overturned by the Court of Appeal, became a topical issue. Because at that time, the story was that the government was under pressure by the Americans to demonstrate that there was no official complicity. The reason why I'm drawing this analogy is that, you see, when some of these things happen, I don't sit at a certain level in terms of governance.
Absolutely.
I play per my pay grade.
True.
You know, there are some meetings I may not be privy to.
And
but the point I am making is that when you have these kind of scenarios, a lot of things go into it.
Maybe you are the president's lawyer.
I'm coming.
Okay.
When I was coming, the president has...
Sometimes let's chat a bit.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
This thing,
it's
small
okay.
interjection,
It's okay.
they are panicking.
No, he is
And
my
you
man.
understand, beating around the bush. Go to the matter. Tell us what you know about the president's lawyer. Tell us.
The president has an attorney general.
No.
I'm not qualified.
We just want to be educated on the matter.
Yeah, we are going. I'm going there. Senior, why?
Mati,
You are intimidating me. You are intimidating me this morning. You know, so the point I'm making is that, you see, so a lot goes into these questions of extradition. One, you want to look at the image of the government. The government wants to show that they are proactive on these matters. But the challenge is that our constitution is governed by the dictates of due process and the rule of law. And so, in seeking to do this for government, I also believe that due process ought to be respected. And it must be done so aggressively. I am a lawyer. I am putting myself in a situation where I am counsel for Abu Trika. And this had happened. What would be my legitimate response to this?
Absolutely.
Look, and particularly coming from America, it is a country that evangelizes due process. Evangelizes, due process and the rule of law, particularly respect for human rights. What's coming here, I had to reference a case of extradition in the United States Supreme Court, a decision that was delivered 9 December 2025, just last year. It has to do with this famous medical doctor, gynecologist, Dr. Kanayama. It's a very famous case. Kanayama has developed himself one of the foremost experts in gynecology and others, but he's of a Japanese origin, but had permanent residence in the United States of America. Somewhere in 2015, he went to Japan, his home country. And subsequently, the story was that he had, the Japanese are there's this fetish about them, about their shrines. So he had visited 2 of the shrines and purportedly misconducted himself with criminal consequences. So the Japanese, as early as 2016, requested for his extradition from the Americans, that the Americans should help extradite him to Japan to face trial. And usually for the America, the principle is that there must be duality of crime, in the sense that what you are seeking to, as it were, try the person for must be a crime in the U.S. And obviously, I think that test will be passed in Ghana, in the sense that romance, fraud, defrauding by false pretense is an offense there, and is also passed. So that duality test would have been deemed a condition met. But in the specific case of the Japanese one, yes, the Americans felt that the duality idea was also what legitimately met. And they were willing to extradite him to Japan. Look, as early as December 2017, Kanayama has fought this extradition for almost 10 years. From 2017 to 2025. Before finally the U.S. Supreme Court allowed that even though he has a permanent resident, that's green card, he's extraditable. And he was eventually extradited to Japan to go and face trial. The reason why I make reference to this Kanayama decision is the fact that even in America, due process is respected.
Absolutely.
And so I have this view at the personal level that to the extent that the basic court granted the order for extradition, however, there was a pending bail application also granted duly by a high court, which bail conditions had been fulfilled. If there was a legitimate notice of appeal against the orders of the Gbese High Court, followed with an application for stay pending that hearing, I think with respect, that ought to have been respected. Before the extradition. And my thinking is that, you see, we also need to show the Americans that we respect the due process requirement just as they do.
Thank you.
Because as we speak today, there's a reason why Ken Ofori-Atta, for instance, is not in Ghana. Why? Government of Ghana wants him here to come and account for his stewardship. But the Americans believe that there's a requirement of due process. They have even gone further to even give him a green card, permanent resident, notwithstanding the pendency of this extradition.
In a different application.
In a different, So my point is that maybe in terms of doing the balancing act, the need to do the extradition and the processes that were legitimately going on in our courts, we could have done a balancing act to say, maybe let's await the outcome of that appellate review. So that if that appellate review, it can be expedited. In this country,
you don't even need to expedite. Why?
No, hold on.
That's for slavery.
It's okay,
It's not paid for slavery. $97 trillion.
Yes.
It's not paid. Why are we in a rush to send people
President Mahama is a champion of
exactly, and they are not minding him, and he's minding them.
No, they are minding him. They are minding.
America didn't support this.
No, America has its own view.
Exactly, but that's America that we took.
No,
$97 trillion. They owe us.
So the point I am making is that we could have done a balancing act with a different outcome, which outcome would actually imply just allowing the basic court, the appellate review to have happened, so that regardless of what the outcome will be, but where in this case it does appear that the process has been truncated by this one looks more like a rendition.
Exactly, it's a rendition.
In the sense that it is a removal to come and face trial. As we speak, there's a member of parliament duly elected by his people.
Asante Achim.
He
succeeded on the Apia Kubi.
No, he defeated
me out of this.
He defeated on the Apia Kubi.
Take me out of this.
No, we are just using it as a point of reference. Even in church.
His point of reference are very cheap.
But I think it's just a matter of fact.
But I'm sure today, if you offer that seat to Honorable, you feel that the pressure of him has come down significantly. And he's looking, like you are saying, very young. The pressure alone can even put gray on you. But the bottom line, and I want to make this argument, is that I am not aware of any quid pro quo arrangements with the government of the United States of America by way of loans or any other thing. I want to strongly believe that this is a position by government to basically show that there are no official complicity in some of these organized crime. It is also, I strongly believe, government's way of sending a message of its that there is zero tolerance for some of these offenses. That there is no way government of Ghana is going to shield any person who is found to have engaged in such conduct or misdeed. What is important and very good is that at least where Abutrika is going, the United States of America, is a country where there is great respect for due process and human rights, particularly anchored on fair trial. And I want to believe that in America, he will get all the reasonable facilities required for him to prepare his defense.
True.
The American courts are such that they take issues on human rights strongly. Look, there is this Diego Garcia or something guy in America that President Trump has done everything humanly possible, executive possible, to have him extradited or removed because he's an illegal immigrant or something. The American courts have, without hesitation, said no. And as we speak, I think he's still in America, notwithstanding the fact that the almighty Donald Trump wants him immediately removed from the U.S. So I want to assure Abutrika that where he had been moved to, it's not a place you call Banana Republic. His rights, if it's legitimately established that he committed no such offense, I have no doubt at all in my mind that the American courts will vindicate him at the end of the day. That notwithstanding, I believe that maybe going forward, the rules on the extradition ought to be properly spelled out. Thankfully, we have a legislation in Ghana that governs some of these undertakings so that going forward, some of this, and I always say that, you see, we are building a democracy. I was listening to Senior Pebu.
Yes.
And Pebu talked about the Dombo Interior Minister. If you recall, even March, by 1957, you know Krobo said,
yes, he took the same
Balogun and the rest, Eduse.
Yes.
And I recall vividly, you know, in those times, the courts will stop the deportation. And immediately what Krobo Eduse would do is that he would go to Parliament and get Parliament to pass the usual ad hominem. Yes, and usually pass the ad hominem legislations. So while the matter is in court, he will go to Parliament, and Parliament will pass a specific law, Amadou Balogun Act, specific Deportation Act.
Amadou Balogun Act.
Okay.
So that is how things had shaped, even from 1957, when Krobo Eduse was the Interior Minister. And the courts, even in those times, were very, very angry. I think Krobo Eduse was even convicted for contempt. In fact, he was. He was. The High Court at that time convicted him for contempt of court, as even Interior.
And then they rushed to Parliament and then
cover it. To cover it.
Parliament cannot pass the law to
so
reverse
you see, so
decision.
if you see, it is based on that Krobo Eduse experience. When the 1979 Constitution was being crafted, they then put in it that Parliament cannot pass a law to override a decision of the courts. Two, then 92 Constitution also brought it in. And so today, if a matter is in court and the legislature and the executive are not happy, they cannot quickly pass a law to override that judicial pronouncement. It is based on and the effect of that application. And based on that checkered history, when we're putting the 1992 Constitution together, we put some of this to serve as a check Because legitimately, as human as we are, there's always the tendency to repeat some of these past mistakes.
Sure.
So I strongly believe that this Abu Trika matter, maybe government took a position that, look, we want to send a message forcefully that will not provide a shield for persons who have been found to have engaged in such conduct. And in this case, maybe there's a greater good in protecting the image of the Republic as not being a safe haven for such misdeeds or not. Regrettable as the due process mechanism may appear to have been truncated, we want to do a balancing act and see whether in the circumstance the justification for such speedy extradition is worth it. I think I will yield back.
And especially, yes, and
But
especially
the
because
salvation, as we see, is the opportunity for Abu to mobilize the necessary resources and opportunities to defend himself. And I very much believe that, given the opportunity, he will be able to, bring the evidence to his favor. And indeed, the onus is on the American judiciary or American
government
prosecution to ensure that they provide the necessary evidence that will lead to conviction. Otherwise, he remains, not a criminal at this point. And it is going to be very difficult for them to so establish. So, given the fact that he has also been given the opportunity to engage counsel of his choice, he should be given. If there is counsel, the counsel must be upon his choice or approval.
And I think that even with the release on this matter, it's quite clear that they have indicated that this indictment is only a charge. It's not an evidence of guilt. Essentially.
Let's not dwell too much on it too.
Why?
Because listen, before they come,
make sure that he's
they are just if I just be giving one, they are just trying to placate us. Listen, before they will spend resources saying they want the person, they would have been 150% confident of a conviction. So this is just placatory. That's how come. Let me finish.
It is in their law.
Yes. That one. These are laws.
That's African extradition law.
What about our extradition?
Yes, but he's talking about opportunities in America as he goes through prosecution. And I'm saying that which...
In fact, they will even get him a defender.
That which Alfred has couched is coming from
Oh,
the
no,
law.
it doesn't necessarily follow. Just to add to what Martin, you talk, let me just make this clear. Why? American legal system, are we not aware of things that happen there?
Exactly.
I mean, first of all, even black people, the way they are treated in their legal system. Secondly, a Ghanaian who has defrauded an American citizen.
Alleged
to have. So let us not make it automatic. Let us not make it automatic that the American legal system is necessarily better than ours. Because even in our case, and we're all agreed, we're all agreed here. We're all agreed here that it was hasty. That one, even all of us, even government is saying that, look, let's have an open mind, his personal opinion. Then he gave an explanation of the government situation, all of that. And I wanted to use the opportunity in terms of information because the listeners are there. This has been raised to an extent by both Martin and Amanda. Is it coincidental? And I was thinking you ask him further probing questions. Is it coincidental with the AG's visit in America? That as soon as they came, there seems to be some haste. Can you tell us more? Ask the questions.
Hold on.
No, Alfred, I beg. Let me land.
You asked of me.
You should be able to.
Hold on.
No. The visit.
Hold on.
Wait, I'm coming. Let me
reference something. Let me just say.
But I haven't landed. Let me land.
That he has some information.
Sometimes you too. You must also be able to be fair. Look, I'm just saying. So that question, that visit, because that issue was not addressed. That visit recently, was there any sort of pressure that was given to us? Hence, the U-turn of this speedy thing, all of a sudden in July, between 2nd to 9th, done. Whereas before, yes, we agree with all the examples he gave, that the government is showing that they are serious and all of that. And that's why all the Dada boat case and all of that. Yes, that was done within a reasonable time. The processes were exhausted. But we are just asking this AG visit. And if so, what is the government's position on such things also not occurring again in future? We just want to know.
Thank you. Now, but you heard the person.
May I, with respect, intervene here?
Quickly.
You see, at the level where these conversations, you get them in the America and here, these are not matters for disclosures. There's no evidence on record that the visit...
But if you don't disclose, I'm just saying, if you don't disclose, you allow speculation.
With respect. You see, if the meeting the Attorney General actually had with the FBI, and the FBI, I think, posted it, the Justice Department or so, relative to commitments to ensure that transnational, transborder crimes and others are nipped in the bud. I do not know the specifics. That Abu Trike's extradition was specifically discussed. As I sit here, if I say I know it, I will be peddling falsehood. The point I am making strongly is that a lot of factors come into this conversation. We can do a post facto in terms of argument as to whether it was properly procedurally right or not. That is a legitimate exercise that we can engage in. And I have also said that the lawyer in me tells me that the due process ought to have been exhausted fully. Granting him that opportunity also advances the democratic credentials of the country. That in Ghana, there is greater respect for ABCD. Like I told you,
understand that.
Kanayama and Co.
I understand
went
exactly.
through that.
No,
10
you
years.
just because you see that same question put differently, which you didn't hear, Michael Kwesi. He responds to say that, look, he some decisions and some conversations, he doesn't sit
beyond my pay grade.
And it's beyond his pay grade.
But
so what would that go to prove?
He's privy to some information which will lead to disclosures. So we are saying that Martin should share that information with us so that we can be convinced that this thing happened in the background.
But why there's no clarification? Martin is allowed to speculate. I'm just saying.
Not call it speculation. It's analysis. It's an academic analysis. Why would listen? Why would a sovereign country like Ghana disrespect its courts, rush, double down, and just handle its citizens to take to the U.S. right without any quid pro quo?
Right after a visit.
Because this is Attorney General Dr. Dominic Aino, professor of law. Everybody, Dominic Ayini is taught, you know that no. Ayini can't have his hands in such a thing if it's so wrong. If not for greater forces beyond Ayini. So Ayini, Interior Minister, Foreign Minister, the President himself. It tells you that there is something. Let's continue. You are hurrying up to take Trump, who has disrespected the U.S. Supreme Court itself. MBG mentioned the Kilmer Abrego Garcia case. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Garcia should be returned, and Trump has refused from April last year. They ordered that they should facilitate his return. Trump will have nothing of it, and we are further honoring Trump with Abu Trika, etc. It tells you that there is a quick pro quo. Because listen, and let's come to this.
But senior, at this level, let's say that you are speculating.
No.
A possible reason.
We never said that. He said analysis. He never said I have it for sure.
Yeah. So now let's go. Our next point. So now the UN, the whole world has accepted that slavery is the greatest crime against humanity. Our forefathers were hauled here, taking the free. We built America. America belongs to all of us. That state doesn't belong to them. Look, our people did free labor. They say if you read the literature, the value of that labor is more than their banks, their railway, etc. America was built on our sweat.
Okay.
They have not given us one city back. So why the rush? President Macron, why the rush?
In running,
they've not paid us.
Yes, Martin. In running every enterprise, one of your most recurrent costs is the cost of labor,
especially human labor.
Human labor.
Yes.
And so, any society that grows or develops on the back of free labor should always be thankful to that labor. Because if you are paying for those railway lines, and that is what propelled America, the cotton farm, that's where industrialization started.
Okay,
America moved from agrarian, and then from agri to industry to railway and others to what it is today.
Well, thank you very much.
And also, I am
just one last point. One thing I'm very happy about. One thing I'm very happy about with this panel is that we are honest. If you look at all the 4 lawyers, we agree with the fact that the haste was the procedural.
No, because when all is said and done, we'll go back to the court.
Of course,
that's what
and they will ask you. So we agree with that. My only thing, which I want to leave as food for thought,
but that's our hope for the future.
As food for thought is that why is it that all of us here privately we agree with it that the procedure was a bit, and yet the other law enforcement agencies or judicial agencies or whatever you want to call them didn't see that. They didn't see that flaw in what they were doing. This is something that I want to leave for our viewers to think of. What happened?
Well, thank you. And as I round up, and I'll give you the last one. Because you don't, Martin Pebu says he doesn't put premium on this aspect of the release. This is information from the United States. What I'm putting there.
There are many times there's no fair trial in America.
Indeed. But Andy Apiakubi holds a different view.
Apiakubi is telling me all the trials in America are fair.
Exactly. He's entitled to gentlemen.
So then let's listen.
America is a failing democracy. It's a failing democracy.
Hold on. He's entitled to review. Let me hear him.
Is that this is not in respect of this particular trial, but it is part of the American.
No, this is actually in respect of this particular trial.
This also applies to Ghana. You know that this applies to Ghana. We have a good system of but yet they didn't treat him fairly.
And I'm saying that this is couched out of the Act of America.
Yes.
That when you are put before the court with such charges, you are presumed to be innocent until proven.
True.
And it is generally part of our laws in Ghana as well. So it is that rendition that is couched out of the American Extradition Act.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Quite a few of your, not a few, a number of your messages on this matter. Thank you very much. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, good morning. It says good morning to all of you. It says, I would like to thank you for the orderly manner today's program has run thus far. I would like to thank the panelists for taking their time to listen to each other in a matter that concerns the good people of Ghana. I would like to commend Michael Quaid Jr. and Eduji Tamaklo for taking their time to explain this issue quite clearly. It says, we are educated this morning. Please read it. I've read it. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, thank you very much for your message. So this is...
He watches this show religiously.
Yes.
Religiously. I tell you, that's how he keeps himself busy on Saturdays.
Thank you. This one says, Ralph from Akuse. Good morning. People cannot go and commit crime in the United States and come here to hide. Let's be frank, sending Abu Trika to the United States sends a strong signal that we can no longer accommodate these acts as alleged. We must sanitize our system. Ken Oforiatta must also be brought home. Thank you very much for
through the same process.
Message as well. All right. Thank you. And there's this one, the message got truncated at some point. If you could send it back, MK Erickson in Techiman. If you could resend your message, I would read it out as well. Thank you very much. And Mr. Covey from Nagrat as well says that thank you for bringing up these issues this morning. The lawyers have done justice to the matters in the layman's language. We followed every step of the way without any legal jargons. Plain language is what we appreciate every morning amongst lawyers. Good morning to lawyer Martin Pebu for bringing us into the law school every morning with the language that we can all understand. Thank you. It says, what's the meaning of habeas corpus? One of you mentioned habeas corpus, eh?
Simply means bring a person you are holding illegally out. So let's say when police or BNI also arrest the person, and they flouted the law. So you
Life
file
or
it.
death.
I think the latest one was in this Hanan case, right? Last week.
Yeah.
We dealt with that. Thank you very much. And this week in
I did
Parliament.
one for Kennedy Japan. But I did one for Kennedy Japan when he was in custody and we couldn't find where he was.
The genocide matter.
Yes, the genocide matter. And I was lawyer in it and I applied.
Okay, thank you.
I filed a habeas corpus.
Right.
That brought him to the court.
I'll read a few more of your messages as we go on the show, a number of them. But as always, Key Point is brought to you by Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner, and GASEM, the nation builder. The minority in Parliament this week opposed the reintroduction of tribunal courts, arguing that it could become an avenue, one, for creating jobs for party loyalists, to jail opponents. But remember, this is a manifesto promised by the NDC. And not just that, the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, has been quite clear about the objectives for this particular path that this government is taking and what it intends to achieve. I want us to take a listen to the point of opposition by the minority, as was led by Samuel Abojenapo in Parliament earlier this week. And then I'll come to my panel. Take a look.
Why additional courts? Mr. Speaker, with the greatest of respect, why do we like to create new institutions every now and again? We have high courts. Why have regional tribunals? If you want to have more courts, you want to have more judges, you want to have more judicial staff, just follow up with what President Akufo-Addo did when he built almost 100 courts complex in our country. Build more court complexes, recruit more judges, recruit more judicial staffs. And if you want a jury system, let's have a jury system. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to believe this is job for the boys. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe this is job for the boys. It shouldn't be. And Mr. Speaker, the point, I don't want to believe that we want to recruit some lawyers from certain courtesses and make them chairpersons of regional tribunals and get 2 people to become members of regional tribunals and get jobs and have some with a, Mr. Speaker, with respect, some kangaroo system where opponents of the administration will be run through a certain judicial system and jailed. We don't want that. Let's have the existing court system. Let's have the district magistrate court, the circuit court, the high court, the court of appeal, the Supreme Court. That is the judicial system in all civilized, developed countries in the world. We do not want regional tribunals. They bring about bad memories, scary memories, and bad dreams and intimidation in our country. Let's reject it. I thank you, Mr.
It says nightmares, bad memories, bad dreams. But this is the objective for this, at least as was captured in the NDC manifesto. And we paraphrase as fast-track justice, the tribunals designed to speed up prosecution of state and public interest cases. Galamsey, others, anti-corruption focus, serve as an alternative tool to aggressively tackle corruption. And then the NDC states that this plan fulfills Article 125 of the 1992 Constitution, which allows citizens to participate in the administration of justice. And this is the position of the minority rejecting this particular matter. Why does tribunals bring bad dreams and nightmares? Michael Kwe Jr.
Oh, my brother. You know,
why?
This is a topic that I want to take a bit of time to delve into.
Within the time allotted to you?
Yes, and time that will steal from one or two other panelists. But public tribunals in Ghana. Let's quickly go back to 1992 when the Constitution was being drafted. And I'm happy, I'm not sure, but Martin Kwebu, he looks young, but maybe he's 50 plus. I don't know if he is. But as for Apia Kubi, you remember, you know, of course, when the proposals came from D.F. Anand, one of the things that was missing was tribunals. And President Rawlings kicked a fuss, a big fuss. In fact, it came into the press. And you remember, a lot of Ghanaians today, the President Rawlings that they know today, may his soul rest in peace, the lovely politician who developed by 96 to 2000 and especially afterwards, was not the same man that we are talking about in 1991. What Rawlings wanted, he got. And in fact, at that time, one of the things we were trying to do to please
was to get the Constitution no matter what. But in fact, one thing I'll give President Rawlings for credit for is that he kept to his word of not using tribunals. Even though it was in there, he never referred any matters for tribunals to be established.
Which one? Under the Constitution?
Yes, under the Constitution of 92.
No, Yemi Avalifo was the original tribunal.
I even came and met some practice.
No, I'm saying that when Rawlings put it in the 92 Constitution, between 92 and his departure in 99, one of the things that he didn't, what I'll say, propound, were regional and public tribunals.
No, he did.
Oh, he did. But someone money, that's a Yebi and Avalifo.
Yes,
it was
that's
NDC money.
an exception. I'm just talking about the fact that.
So I'm trying to connect it to Rawlings.
You're making the.
Senior Obeda Samoa is watching.
Yes, they are not getting. And
the fact
remember,
in the case is that
one was
NDC
used
money.
as an exception. And remember very well how it was criticized and never touched. But what I mean is that Rawlings did not attempt to establish them as part of the system, even though it was used.
He appoints judges. Okay, move on to different.
No.
Because the chairman of the tribunal is appointed. He's a high court judge appointed by the president.
No, but we are talking this time of the three and the other appointed ones.
Yes, it's appointed by the president.
But no, that's what. But what I'm stating is that even he, Rawlings, who was what I will call Mr. Tribunal, did not make it part of the system like it's being proposed today. No, and why is that? Why is that?
An argument.
He didn't make a part of the system.
He appoints the chairman. He's equivalent to a high.
That's why I want
my point is simple. Yes. As of now, what President John Mahama is bringing up is basically to establish this. And you know, one of the things that has brought this to make it an establishment is matters like Galamsey. And also the fact that they are telling us now that they are going to have this regional tribunal system because of things like delay and things like, what do you call it? Our three-member panel who is going to be appointed not by the Chief Justice, not by the judicial system, but by the President. I insist on...
Have you seen the draft bill?
You see? The draft... So what does the draft bill say?
No, you see, because this...
what does the draft bill say?
Public... Okay, no,
because you asked a question.
Exactly.
Sorry.
What does the draft bill say?
Have you seen the draft bill? Then
no, but you let him
No.
You see,
no, would help. Because if he had, then...
One thing that we need to be very clear about, whether from Article 125 and all the rest that deals with public tribunals, regional tribunals, and all the rest of it, is that we have to have a nation where, as the English courts say, you are tried in the ordinary courts of the land. Simply by the fact that you go from the district court to your circuit court, to your high court, to your appeal court, and then you move on to the Supreme Court. What I was saying that you are not understanding is that even Rawlings, he did not go ahead to bring what is now being laid before the Legal Parliamentary Affairs Committee, which is the Tribunals Bill, which is what is being sought at the moment in Parliament. That is the Tribunal Bill of 2026. Under his time, there was no Tribunal Bill that was brought for it to be used. And I'm saying that now it is being legitimized by an act of Parliament, which in itself will then create a whole difference. That's what I was talking about. So I'm saying that, what I'm saying is that even under him, who is Mr. Tribunal, he did not attempt to pass any bill under Parliament. And this is what has generated not just this controversy, but this discussion. And we are saying that the purpose of this bill is to reduce pressure on the regular courts. And we're also saying that this is to speed up the disposal of certain cases. I have lived in a different jurisdiction of legal reputation and also of the Commonwealth, which is India. one of the solutions they have, you know their population, they are 1 point something billion compared to Ghana, where we have about 32 or so million people. They have a double track court. They have a morning judge, they have an afternoon judge in the same system. And my point again is that why is it that now we are trying to pass a bill for tribunals to become actually a stated and part of our system? And that even he, Rawlings, who was Mr. Tribunal, did not pass any bill. Yes, that exception was used and so on and so forth. But my point is that, President John Mahama, why? If there's a certain justification for a certain error, then we have to look at it and say, okay, why do we want to justify this case? What is the exception here? But we can't have a bill of parliament or an act that would make this the standard that we're looking at. Because you see, the constitutional question is complex. The 1992 Constitution recognizes, as I said, the use of tribunals in its sense lying there.
Okay.
But what we also must know is that tribunals are also not necessarily automatically democratic, or they are not automatically something that we want to see as an ordinary way of judicial dispensation, because the interference is too much. Who are these three panel people going to be? Who are they going to be? Because they are not necessarily all going to be judges. These are members of all walks of life. If the president is the one who is going to appoint them, or at least the lead, we need to know what is the process. If it's not the president who is going to appoint them, we need to know who is going to make that appointment.
But is the process not already outlined?
No, I'm just saying that it's at the moment it's up for it's up for consideration by the Legal and Constitutional Committee.
Precisely.
And these are all things that will come out. I'm not a member of parliament, so I like to ask questions. And then if the answer is here, by all means, let's be educated. But we must ask the questions so that we understand the composition of these three panel members.
Okay.
How is it going to be done? And what is the way that this is going to have? And let us not beat about the bush. What Honorable Abu Jinapor said, and my own self. I mean, tribunals give some of us nightmares. Serious nightmares and worry.
What nightmares?
About, you may not be having nightmares, but I have nightmares of how memories of the past, of some of the acts of these tribunals. So I just think that the best alternative, honestly, and this is my humble opinion, we must look at how we can improve the existing court system. We need more judges. We need to be able to get some digital case management. We should have specialized commercial and small claims courts, because these are things that would help in that regard.
Okay.
We must have stronger legal aid, for example, alternative dispute resolution, and the better resourcing of our district and circuit courts. Because when we have these reforms, these are things that would not create the kind of impression of tribunals, which is of a total dispensation. And as I mentioned before, and I want to reiterate, brings us nightmares in this country. Let us look at these reforms and make more courts. Let us build more courts. Let us get more judges so that we can dispense justice in the two things that we're worried about. One, speedily, and also at the expense that we've been talking about. Otherwise, tribunals is something that is going to become a nightmare indeed.
Also, on the matter of the process for appointment, I think all of that, the questions you asked are in the bill. So I'll share a copy of the bill with you. Yes.
Because my learned senior has raised certain important matters, I think it's important that I intervene quickly to put the fear people have at rest immediately at once.
Thank you.
You see, first of all, the National Democratic Congress, in its 2024 campaign manifesto, which is the social contract we had with the people of this country, overwhelmingly endorsed at the poll, was the fact that we promised that we would put in place a proper mechanism for the establishment of the public tribunals. Consistent with the promise H.E. John Dramani Mahama made to the people of this country, steps have been taken to establish that. Fears have been raised. I've listened to my learned senior Abu Jinapo, and I've listened to Ambassador Michael Cray now. Those fears are without any basis whatsoever.
Why do you say so?
Legitimately, you can describe them as red herrings. No basis. Look, I have with me, and because you gave me the topic, prior to coming here, I went for the public tribunal bill so as to inform the public adequately on what the government intends to do. Let nobody put any information misleading here. The tribunals are part of the 1992 Constitution.
Thank you.
And there had not been any amendment whatsoever till now.
That's true.
In fact, the only time we came close to anything like an amendment was what happened in 2002. That is the Courts Amendment Act 2002, which amended the Courts Act with the removal of the district tribunal only. And that was even in 2002. But the regional tribunal, as established by the 1992 Constitution itself, is still there in our books. The only thing that was lacking is how they will operate. It is that operational mechanism that this bill is seeking to fill and to intervene. And so if you look at the bill, and before the bill, look, like I pointed out, Yebi and Abalifo was tried at the regional tribunal here in Accra. Incidentally, the respected senior state attorney, Anthony Jambibi, he prosecuted that case. And my senior in Krabia Fadate was the lawyer for the accused persons at that time. That was when the NDC reported its missing money. And the matter went to the court. And incidentally, in that case, if you recall, Senior Nkrabia Efadate raised an issue about its jurisdiction, which the Supreme Court had the opportunity to consider. And the Supreme Court at that time, yes, referenced that the regional tribunals, yes, in fact, had jurisdiction to try those serious offenses, even though the money stolen belonged to the NDC. So that record ought to be set. Look, there in the Republic, even robbery were being tried at that time by the public tribunal. Now let's go back to the fears expressed by Marlene Senior. If you look at the public tribunal, the bill itself as we have it, and I want us to go to the proposed section 11.
Section 11?
Yes, okay. Of the bill as proposed.
Section 11
of the proposed. No, this one is the proposed.
Yes, the proposed bill. Yes,
this is the proposed bill.
I just put it all together. Yes, I'll send it to you.
Section 11 of the
2026 Tribunals Bill.
Yes. So, Senior.
Do you have it now?
Yes,
I'm talking about Michael Quay Jr. Do you have it now?
Maybe no, I can share with. We're ready. I can share with him. Okay. So let me just proceed.
In fact.
Please,
yes.
Go ahead. Yes.
Section 11 of the proposed bill. Share with us if you have. And just to ensure that everything confirms with the 1992 Constitution, this is what it says. Appointment of chairman of public tribunal and panel members. The fear he expressed relative to the panel members. And see what the bill says. 11.1. The president shall, acting on the advice of the Judicial Council, appoint the chairman of the public tribunal. B, the chairman of the district tribunal. So it is upon the advice of the Judicial Council.
So it's not the president.
It's not a whimsical, capricious, and in fact, this provision is the same as the appointment of high court judges. They basically lifted it verbatim with all the necessary modifications. Now, what happens to the other members, the other panel members, the appointment? That's 11.2. It said the Chief Justice shall, acting in consultation with the Regional Coordinating Council for a region and on the advice of the Judicial Council, appoint panel members of the Regional Tribunal. So where is the fear? Important constitutional safeguards. So the other members of the District Regional Tribunal are going to be appointed through the Chief Justice, having consulted the Coordinating Council of the respective region. That's for the Regional Tribunal. On the advice of the Judicial Council. Fair safeguard. Now for the District Tribunal, the panel members, the same 11.2 now says that when it comes to the District Tribunal panel members, one, the Chief Justice must consult the District Assembly on the advice of the Judicial Council. Just as High Court judges are appointed, Circuit Court judges are appointed. The same procedure had been what? Brought into this public trial. So they fear that maybe some NDC member working somewhere can be picked and put on the public tribunal. That fear is cured in the proposed bill. In this country, NDC MPP have had even non-party members appointed to the Apex courts, Superior Court judges, and they have delivered justice. That had never been a problem.
Because there are guidelines.
Guidelines. You can't act whimsical.
The law is the law.
Well, the last time that phrase was used, it became problematic. I would restrain myself. So let me just stick to the issues. So, Section 11 of the proposed bill, which deals with appointments to the regional and district tribunals, have provided enough constitutional safeguards against such whimsical and capricious application of the rules just to undermine. When I listened to my learned senior Abujinapo, it became obvious that as at the time he was speaking, he's not had the benefit of reading the bill. Because if he had the benefit of reading the bill, those concerns would not be raised. What are the fears? He, Abu, at the time he was MP for Damongo, at the time when he was Deputy Chief of Staff to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President appointed a non-MPP person as a Superior Court judge. Was it legitimate? You had confidence.
But you want us to remind you of your
No, I'm coming. Don't go there. No, the point I'm making is that, so what is the fear? What is the foundation of that fear? If you go back to the bill, it tells you, and I've spent the whole night combing through the bill just to ensure that we allay the fear of the public. Now, the innovations that I see in this bill, and Senior Martin, with your guidance, if you look, I have some challenges why those particular offenses have been listed. Look, Code of Conduct and disciplinary rules. A member of the tribunal is subject to the relevant code of conduct and any other disciplinary rules, just to ensure that they don't misconduct themselves. It's here, Section 14 of the proposed bill. Now, what is even interesting is that the innovations in this particular bill, and for me, the thinking outside the box, is that it says that when this public tribunal is trying a matter, okay, which involves specific, and the law is specific. It says that when it involves minerals and mining, this is how the tribunal should conduct its affairs. Profound. We don't have any such law so far. It says that when you are dealing with Galamsey-related offense, and this is President Mohammed's commitment to the fight against Galamsey, he said there shall be no stay or proceedings. It's in the law. Look.
Yeah, but
I'm coming, Senior. I'm coming.
The challenge. Because
See,
you see,
Session,
Senior.
No. You say Senior.
Okay,
in one breath, please. Mode of trial. And then right to legal representation. It says, Section 27(1), a person who appeared before the tribunal shall have the right to be represented by a legal counsel chosen by the person. Safeguard fair trial, Article 19. Here. Application of Evidence Act. The Evidence Act 1975, NRCD 323, applies to proceedings of a tribunal subject to necessary modification. Further rules of engagement. The tribunal may admit evidence whilst ensuring compliance with constitutional and statutory safeguards. Constitutional and
implied.
No, I'm even saying that beyond even the implication, this one is expressly provided for. Further safeguards. Now, another interesting one. Live broadcast of public interest cases before the regional tribunal. Live broadcast.
That is
Section 31. It says, proceeding before the regional tribunal which involves a matter of public interest, including an offense against the state, may be broadcast live. So that if the tribunal members are misconducting themselves, the whole world will see. No secrecy. You can't go and hide.
The courts too.
No. But I'm saying that. So what is the fear? If at the end of the day, the whole public will see their conduct. No secrecy.
When the law says may, it is not obligatory.
But I'm saying that. You even want to share.
I want it to be changed to share.
Very well.
Because of the experience I have.
Very well.
It must be
That's even good. Now, let me, I beg you. This one is important
we'll
for me.
Quick one from the president. We understand the president has just arrived in Lajo.
Okay.
I think, yes. For the second
He's the boss.
He's talking about the vultures again.
He's the boss.
Let's cross over now. Komla Kluche is with the president. Komla, tell us what's happening where you are, quickly. Yes. Please.
Deployment of the trucks, the dump trucks, has just started, just like His Excellency the President said yesterday. They were going to retool the task force led by the military to do the cutting of the debris and the silt. Quite a huge number of them. We've counted close to about 15 trucks that have come here at the Alajo Enclave where he was yesterday. And the desilting and the clearing of the debris is ongoing. You can see right in your shot we have the tipper trucks all over there. And then the loaders also as well. But I mean, I can tell you the amount of filth, stench, most especially that has engulfed the area, cannot be underestimated. It tells you the enormity of what the challenge is. The issue about cholera and all others have also come to play, especially the caution being sent to the public. But let me just try a bit and then engage the Minister for Local Government now, who there are some questions that we may have to put to him regarding where all this filth will be sent to. Good morning,
All right,
Honorable.
so my colleague Komla Kluche is there for us. We understand the president is arriving shortly. When he does, we would cross over to him right now.
Yeah.
Yes, but this is just
our
coverage of the day 2 of this nationwide sanitation day. We're still live here on Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7.
Let me be on record of saying that I rather will use the word shall to make it obligatory on us rather than may, which presumes that it may be done or may not be done.
Okay.
Because the public hearing is very important. Because these are.
And I strongly agree with him, so that at least the whole public knows what's going on. No kululu, no libilibi, no labalaba. The other point is that if you look at session, and look, Alfred, I beg you, I'm taking small time because this thing is important that we clear the public conception about the public tribunal because of the misinformation that has been put out. With respect, if you look,
you have your time.
It says defense of accused person and preliminary objection. Just to ensure expeditious trial, it says that a person who wants to oppose a charge shall, within 10 days, so limited time, when the charge sheet is served on you and you have an opposition to it, within 10 days you must file it.
Okay.
What this bill is introducing is speedy trial. So the point where lawyers can deploy all our skills, wait, and do, we want to cure it with this one. Now, even more profound is the minerals and mining processes. It says where a party to a proceeding in relation to a matter under the Minerals and Mining Act 2006 is dissatisfied with the decision of a tribunal in respect of an interlocutory application, a party to the proceeding may make an interlocutory appeal against the decision of the tribunal. During the trial, interlocutory appeal shall only be made after the conclusion of the case. So where, for instance, tendering of evidence, you have an objection, you want to appeal, you want to stay. It said those things you can't do it with the public tribunal.
You have to finish the trial.
You have to finish the trial. Then if you have interlocutory appeal, you consolidate all of them and you do. That is not what is happening with the current legal regime in criminal trial. Because at this...
Because I have an appeal that
exactly
set in 4 months.
And I remember, and I'll tell you, when I did the NCA...
The wheels of justice grind slowly.
No, but when I recall when I was doing the NCA matter, we tendered in evidence. And we raised an objection with it. So that objection was overruled, and I appealed it. And I brought a stay application before the Court of Appeal, Koram, Tanko, blah, 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 at that time. They said, look, yes, it's a legitimate basis for an appeal. However, the stay will be refused. This time around, the legislation is trying to cure that whole enterprise where you can only file the interlocutory appeal when the prosecution says we have closed our case, then you can do that.
Also come with time for them to determine the appeal. Because, and again,
no, so is
when
there,
the appeal
is there,
has not been determined,
yes,
there must be a stay so that...
listen. Section 39(3) of the proposed bill says that an interlocutory appeal filed under subsection 1 shall be determined within 30 days.
And shall operate as a stay.
No, this one, it does not. Now, it says that, section 40, stay of proceedings. There shall be no stay of proceedings in the case under the Minerals and Mining Act 2006. So when it is a galamsey-related offense, and the public tribunal is doing it, it says that there shall be no stay.
So how fair is that?
But you see, this is a determination to ensure that criminal justice is administered speedily.
Yes, but again...
These are not legitimate. So I am saying that this bill introduces very innovative provisions to ensure that the things that we lawyers do, basically, there will be a certain
cases, you mean?
There will be a certain
Thank you.
So let me just make this one. I mentioned here that he was talking about galamsey. And you remember I said one of the things. One second. I need to make
No, I'll come back to you.
The tribunals are trying to make a galamsey case. It shouldn't be the case.
Okay, thank you.
And secondly, if we look at this issue of...
You are not on. Listen, I'll come
to look at this 15 days, 10 days matter. Just quickly. We want to understand
my good friend's submissions. Indeed, it is important for us to also look at how we stay proceedings when you have filed an appeal. I have already now an appeal at the Court of Appeal that is 4 months, and the Court of Appeal, they have not even settled the records. And in that case, if the proceedings are going, it renders the appeal nugatory because it cannot affect the proceedings. By the time we come back, it would have finished. So much as we want to expedite the trial, let us also make sure that appeals as raised at the end of the close of proceedings of the prosecution be also given time arrangement so that we will come back quickly and then continue. And the clause that says, or the section that says there shall not be a stay, it's defeating the purpose of the appeal. So we should look at that one. Nevertheless, let me go on with my submission.
Understand you MPs, when the thing is still at this level,
yes,
you
so
call it clause by clause, not section. So for now, let's...
my former colleagues to look into this matter, do the necessary debate and make sure that the right things are done. But on my own, let me, my contribution this morning on the bill. Indeed, I'm going to speak as a lawyer without more. So we go to Article 126 of the Constitution.
126.
126 of the Constitution.
126.1.
126.1.
The judiciary shall consist of.
And for purpose of time, let's go to 126.1 So the judiciary shall consist of
the High Court and regional tribunals.
Shall, and the word there is shall. Mandatory. So that it is the word tribunal that is agitating all of us. But again, in our constitution, it is so provided that it shall. So it is even late in time, because the constitution having given us this order, we ought to have done it even before now.
It was there. We just stopped using them.
But you see, I'll come back to that.
No.
I'll come back to that.
You know, the 2002 legislation actually proscribe it.
No, the regional tribunal.
No, that one there was never. It was the district.
And you go to Article 143. A regional tribunal shall have jurisdiction to try such offences against the state and public interest as Parliament may by law prescribe. So the expectation is that Parliament will bring out another law that will guide the performance of the regional tribunals. And in fact, the regional tribunals are given specific roles, not general jurisdiction as pertains in the district court
specific.
Or the regional courts. But by the Constitution, it's given a specific assignment. And that is why maybe reference is being made to trials under minerals and mining law.
And in fact, that's Section 11 that Lawyer Dujitamaklo read in this particular bill.
Yes. Clause 11.
That's Clause 11.
Yes.
Is captured in Article 1443.
Yes.
Justices of the Court of Appeal and of the High Court and chairmen of regional tribunals shall be appointed by the President, acting on the advice of the Judicial Council.
So that is not even going
to reproduce.
But let's look at the constitutional provisions. And again, Article 143 says that regional tribunals shall have jurisdiction. And you see, when the Constitution or the law says shall, it means it is foreclosed that it must happen. So for me, the matters of its establishment is a constitutional matter. Whether or not we like it as a state or as citizens or as Ghanaians, we may have to, then repeal those clauses of the Constitution, amend by way of amendment, amend the Constitution. But again, don't let us also forget that these are entrenched provisions, that it cannot be amended as of right of Parliament or any institution. It must be by referendum. You see, so if we want to amend a constitution as it speaks like this, then we must go through the process of amendment, and then we take it out. But not until that time. The constitution is ensuring that we do it. So if we want to do it now, I don't think that, for me, it is not unlawful. But if we are not happy with the situation, then we must go through the process of changing the provisions on the law. But given this opportunity to affect the legal system through the Constitution, let's look at Article 139 2D. And it says that the court shall consist of
139 2D.
The High Court shall be constituted by 3 judges of the court for the trial of offences of high treason or treason as required by Article 19 of the Constitution. So it says that the High Court can try treason and high treason. Now go to Article 143. The High Court shall have no power in a trial for the offence of high treason or treason to convict a person. You see, the same Constitution contradicting itself.
So what's the point?
You understand? So what I'm saying is that these two laws are contradictory to each other. And therefore, in the hierarchy of norms, when there is a provision that comes against another provision in the same law, the import is that the first one gives way to the second one.
Because the whole idea is that the legislator knew of that before introducing.
Yes. So the first one will give
more or less to cure a mischief earlier.
So I am saying that this constitution, as you have it, has these two provisions contradicting each other. and for which reason it retires Article 1392D as non-effective.
All right.
And therefore, we will go away with that. Okay. Now, coming back to the tribunal system and the fears as expressed.
And the fears, yes.
The fears regional tribunal. Yes. Because it's a constitutional expectation, we cannot fault it. But that is why there's a requirement of Parliament passing a law to effectuate the provisions under the Constitution. So Parliament has a duty to ensure that all the safeguards that will cure the fears of the public, and in this case, minority, make sure that these provisions are provided to cure.
And I think that they're already there.
But like I'm saying, no. It will be subject to debate. Listen, it will be subject to debate. But as Martin said, they are not sections of the law. They are. There is only a bill there, so these clauses are only clauses to be debated in Parliament. So I will urge all of us to follow the debate critically, particularly members on the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee. They must show presence and do the debate. And again, when it comes to the plenary, the minority who have various issues with various clauses must be there and debate it and make sure.
But even before this bill is passed by Parliament, that fear of government or the NDC appointing its people on the panel to, as it were, prosecute opponents, is that fear not addressed already in the Constitution?
Well, they are not law yet.
No, I'm talking about
so
the
Constitution. So you could still have the fear?
No, I'm talking about the Constitution.
Okay.
Because if you read 1252, it says citizens may exercise popular participation in the administration of justice through the institution of public and customary tribunals and the jury and assessor system. 1443 says, 1444 says, panel members of regional tribunals other than the chairman shall be appointed by the Chief Justice in consultation with the Regional Coordinating Council for the region and on the advice of the Judicial Council.
Yes, so the provision is there already. So this is the provision that is being lifted into the new act.
So is there any basis for the fear that only NDC people will be appointed on the panel? Based on this particular provision I just gave?
You see, unfortunately, sometimes when we start the debate without having gone through the existing provisions, because some of these acts, the sections in the act are provisions in another law having been lifted and positioned there. So if we are not challenging the existence of these provisions in this superior law, where is our mandate to challenge it in the lower law? The act is a lower law to this one.
Thank you.
So what I'm suggesting is that let's go in there, do the necessary debate, make sure the right things are done. But the institutions that are going to be created by this new law, let us see also that these institutions work to perfection.
Thank you very much. And we're going to cross over now. The president has just arrived at the location where this
Mr. President, I give it to you.
So there you have it. Komla Kluche is there. So the president has just arrived at Alajo. This is in the Okaikwe Central area. This was one of the locations heavily hit by the floods on June 29. In fact, there were cases of some casualties. People died as a result of this June 29 floods. Already the Minister for Local Government and other persons within government had been on the ground in this particular area before the arrival of the president. And this is day 2 of the exercise. Komla Kluche is there for us. Komla. We have eyes on what's happening as well in the other regions and other areas as the president has just arrived. You see him there exchanging pleasantries with the military personnel and other officials at this location in Alajo where the cleanup exercise day 2 is taking place. Komla Kloche is there for us.
Yes, so the president, like I said, has just come out of the day. And now he's been given the briefing by Brigadier General Okai. The president is asking about what transpired yesterday after he left, and he's being given a briefing. The deployment of the trucks has been updated on it. Now it's quite a good number of the dump trucks have come through the place. And so he's heading to see what is over there, and he will sort the trucks, and then he will shortly be addressing the country on what the status is as of this morning. But Alfred, the amount of field that has engulfed the area, the part of the capital, is no joke. I can tell you, even the state here in Alajo, it's a major worry. And as we were speaking to the Deputy Chief of Staff, Sandobe, a while ago, he was indicating that yes, yesterday day one was quite good, but it appears that day 2, a lot of the people have not come out of their homes to join. The government is doing its best, but it appears the people who live within the area are not showing up much of that interest. But what it is that okay. So the president is trying to play that way. He wants the attention on him, and he will be speaking shortly in sort over there. But like I was saying, not many people have come out of their homes. You can see actually even drive towards Alajo. A lot of the people did not come out of their homes, but the fields was right in front of their jobs and their homes. And so it tells you that the amount of food that needs to be collected would be huge. And so that is what the issue is being briefed now by the Minister of Police. Let's listen. Let's listen to the Minister of Police.
Site, and to give freedom that they should bring the refuse for free. Everybody is bringing just the refuse left, right, center, and therefore all the streets across the country, and especially in Accra, the more you evacuate, the more they bring. And I'm happy that today you've come again. But myself and my sister, the regional minister, with the MPs and the MMDCs, even today being the second day, we are not going to relent. We are going to continue. We may therefore need additional intervention that the transfer station openings should not end today. Because if you close it today, they will continue to be keeping the refuse in their houses. And we don't know when the next rain is coming. When the rain is coming, then they will come and be putting them into the gutters. So clearly, once we create that access, the stations will be opened, and within the next 1 week or 10 days, Your Excellency, even tomorrow, your Pentecost elder, I will not go to church. Tomorrow, Manchester service will be held here. We will come and make sure that we do the evacuation until we finish to bring you the report that you want. And I think that you will be of the view that we clean, after that we sweep, and all those kind of things. We will do it to your expectation, but a report will be brought. Thank you for your distinguished and excellent leadership. Enyaminti.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want all of us to remember that today is day 2 of the national cleaning exercise. Yesterday, the turnout was fantastic, very good. People came out and helped to clean their neighborhoods. Today, the turnout is also good, but I'm just calling on those who are still in their houses and haven't come out. Please come out and come and join us so that we clean the city after the flood. Yesterday, one of the directives I gave was that in the past, we do these cleanups. We take all the garbage out of the gutters, but we don't follow up and come and collect the garbage that is by the roadside. And so when the rain falls, it just washes all the dirt back in. And so today we're going to concentrate on scooping all that garbage we took out of the gutters into these big trucks that you see there. so that they'll take them to the dump sites and go and dump them. But we know that if you look at the city and all the garbage we've taken out, we cannot do it in one day. So we'll all help to do it today, but tomorrow the army and the other agencies will continue until we're able to clear all the garbage that was taken out of the drains. We've had 6 transfer stations that were built more than 9 years ago. Unfortunately, they were not put into operation. So we've asked the contractor to open the transfer stations, that's Zoomlion, so that the Aboboyas and others can take the garbage to the transfer stations. They don't need to go all the way to Amasama into the Irikops. If they dump at the transfer stations, we'll use these big trucks and load the garbage and take them to the Irikops. And so all the Aboboyas that are taking part in this exercise, you don't need to go to Amasama. Go to the nearest transfer station. If you ask, they'll show you where it is, and then you can go and dump your garbage there. So I want to thank everybody who's come out, and those who are still at home, all of you come out. We are doing this together. And Ghana is a resilient country, Accra is a resilient city, and we'll bounce back better than before. Thank you very much.
Eric, the cameras can come.
So you move the magnet now. He is going to take part in the collection of the stone. Like he did yesterday. He is going to be taking part in it and by the ceremonial one, like he did yesterday.
Komla Kluche right there. Thank you. It's our presidential affairs correspondent, Komla Kluche, with the president in Alajo. Gentlemen, thank you. We're still live here on Key Point on TV3. Also live on 3FM 92.7 on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and a number of radio stations across the country on the Voice of London Radio in the heart of the City of London and Voice of London Television as well. And as always, brought to you by Bank of Africa and GASEM. Lamatipebo, bring you on this matter of the tribunals and the fears as raised by the NPP. Yeah. You have the bill. You have the bill, and whether those fears have been adequately addressed in this and also in the Constitution, because obviously this bill will be subservient to the provisions of the Constitution. That's why I reference 125 and 1444.
142, Tribunal is there. Okay, so let's start with this first. Let me disagree slightly on the matter of the treason. The 139 and then 140. What the one you're calling the contradiction, the 143, is just saying that when you bring somebody on a charge of treason or high treason, don't mix any other offense with it. So don't add robbery or stealing. No, that's all. So there's no contradiction. Let's read it. What it says is that the High Court shall have no power in a trial. You see, it says no power in a trial for the offense of high treason or treason to convict any person for an offense other than high treason or treason. So it just means that don't add any other charges. When you say high treason, only high treason. If you say treason, only treason. Don't go and put murder, put stealing, robbery. Don't mix. That's all that it means. So there's no contradiction. Oh, otherwise, long ago would have corrected it. Now let's come to the bill. So as you rightly stated, this matter of the PS, it's normal that some politicians want to do politics with it. Samuel Jinapor saying on the floor of Parliament that it will be an opportunity for party apparatchiki to come and seek to convict opponents. Yes, it's a good caution. It's good. It's a good caution, all right? Because that's always been the fear. It's not only this. It's just like when there is time for elections, some people go and bring their rolling tapes. They will play. Makola women were whipped. People were killed under the Rawlings administration. The High Court judges were murdered under Rawlings. It's the same kind of argument. It's just to remind people that, oh, these are the people who killed the judges. That's the NDC people. Their precursors killed the judges. They whipped Makola women. It's the same thing. So, but you know. Yes, that's why. Yeah, I said it earlier. So you see, we agree. It's a good warning because if we don't keep doing this, we'll never improve. It's because we warned and warned ourselves. That's why today we are a better society. That is it. That is why we are a better society. Otherwise, if it's just the word tribunal, in the UK they have tribunals. They use tribunal system, right? Yes, you will see this compensatory tribunals, different tribunals in the UK. But ours, because of the revolution, that's let the blood flow, etc. Right? That's what. But we all know, as I said, when I started practice, the tribunals were still there, especially the regional tribunal. I remember for lawyers were at there's a court, AMA, facing the sea around the Baden Powell Memorial. Yes, I mean, yes. Justice Jakwasu was a regional tribunal, this judge. Yes, and then there were other ones. Then later. So as the practice went on, later on, then they just stopped using it. But otherwise, I met the regional tribunal sitting over there, and they were doing cases. And like Eduji said, they don't do everything, not like the veritable octopus with 8 legs stretching its tentacles everywhere. No, they were specific ones. And this law too specifies them. So in order not to repeat the ones Eduji said, let me go for the fresh ones that have attracted my attention. Number 1. And so, you see that, let's also make this point as we go on. There are people who say, Ora Yamutu, Ora Yamutu. I thought that they want quick justice. No, that's Ora. That is part of Ora recovery. It's because people say, oh, it's taking too long. Ora Yamutu. Now, Ora is bringing fresh laws to make it faster. He say, hey, everywhere you pass, he say, hey, if you hadn't...
Ora that is bringing the law.
Yes, but it's part of... Ora is a government policy. Operation... It's not in the manifesto.
Exactly.
Operation Recover or Loot. And Ghanaians voted for it, so we support. So that's Ora trying to bring new laws so that we go on quickly. So let's go to the second schedule to the law. You see that for the Galamsey ones, they say when we start, we must finish within 42 days. Because it says the schedule, all right, and I say, listen, so right now we say clause 38, sub clause 4. You see timelines for determination of a case under Minerals and Mining Act 2006, Act 703. So you see it. 42nd day, judgment. So let's go through quickly. 1, filing and service. On the 7th day, there's appearance and answer. That's the arraignment. Then 10th day, pre-trial. Then 15th day, start the trial. Then 21st, end of trial. Then 42nd day, judgment. Quick. That's in the schedule. So that's an innovation, quick justice. And some of the cases, if you read the history, if you read our history, those is the tribunals. Yes. Some of them, in Okwe's book, yes, Junior Okwe, your dad's book, you see there. I remember clearly those days reading it. One of them, the person, he said, yes, they brought me and quickly they were done. Yes, he was happy that the trial had come quick. Yes, in your dad's book, I remember. All right? He said he was happy that quick, it was done. And besides, is the cry of the Ghanaians for speedy and effective justice that has brought back the... Now, so let's go to the next point. You will find that in clause 41, it says we should do what? Daily trial. It's not new, except that this time we are writing in the law. You remember Jachi Kwesin's case, that time when we were fed up with the MPP. When they sought to do the Jachi Kwesi case daily, some of us were very upset. We just felt that it was a political witch hunt. But my point today is that you see the debate, and eventually the court said there will be a daily trial. The court said there will be a daily trial. You see, NDC, they are forgiven. That judge is even been promoted. She's in the Court of Appeal. So you see how it works. The judge said there will be a daily trial, and so it was. Then NAM1's case came. When NAM1's case came, they weren't doing daily trial. Then we said, no. What is good for the goose is good for the what? So we made noise that NAM1's case should also be done what? Daily trial. So this daily trial now finding its way in clause 41 means that we've had political debates, and as a society at the end of the day, we've come to accept it's not new, but it will lead to quick and effective justice for daily trial. Then third point. My third point is on the matter of stay of proceedings. You were in the NCA case. I think in that case, Justice Chebafu, he gave in part of the ruling, he expressed disquiet
about. No, he actually called for legal reform.
Exactly.
And gave an indication. And look, when we're doing the NCA case, there was one time when we did an appeal because some evidence issue. My lord said he will proceed with the trial as we go ahead. So we went to the Court of Appeal and applied for stay. Koram, Justice Tanko, and 2 others. What they said was that if you go to Nigeria, in trials of that nature, within 21 days, all interlocutory appeals are dealt with. And they felt that the time had come that this thing is not left to judges alone, but then there should be legislation. So when I saw it in the public tribunal, the bill, I said, oh, okay, is there a way to ensure that? But then it's also limited to certain specific offenses.
Yes.
Maybe it should be broader.
Excellent. So you see, Justice Chamber's rulings years ago, and there's been a public debate. I remember once I was interviewed on radio, one of this, they took it up, that the judge is saying, can't we do away with this interlocutory appeal because they delay? We know how, when you have strong political actors, they find all manner of means to delay. So that it will be the next general elections, and hopefully their party will come.
There are lawyers who are specialized in that.
Yes, exactly. That's their main
Senior Martin is a specialist.
is a specialist.
You're accusing each other.
But it's not accusation, it's part of the trade. Anyway. I say the law is made. It's part of it. So you see, we've had debates on this since
the bar must prosper.
You see, hey, and those lawyers who did 6 cases, the Attorney General had to discontinue and do withdrawals. You should find out those the lawyers are reaping benefits for, fighting the system till there was a general election.
Till the nollie prosecutor.
Excellent. So you see, citizens have learned, and you see that there's a lot of disquiet by citizens that will not allow this, will not allow this. So you see that there's popular support for a daily trial. There's popular support for stopping these interlocutory appeals that waste time. That wastes time. You see the Nigerian one Eduji mentioned. That's what the British do. Oh, but at the end of the day, you have the right to continue the appeal.
So you see, in the UK and the US, for instance, like Martin is saying, once there's criminal trial start, it continuously ends. No break. But ours, the opportunity is there.
Which we are now doing away with. It's because we've stigmatized the prisons a lot. And also, I think it's the overcrowdedness and all that. The way we don't allow rights, even including conjugal rights. People who are married, they should be allowed to see their wives.
I think by now, you, as one of the strongest advocates, should be applauding President Mahama.
Yes.
The community center.
Yeah, we're coming.
That's going to be our next. Will be our next topic.
We'll be coming on the
We'll be coming to that. We'll be coming to that. We'll be coming to that.
You know what? Let's mention this before I forget. Even though today is not for the asset declaration law, you know, the last time we made noise, the next day, Honorable Dafama Paul gave me the bill. And I saw in it the publication of the assets. Yes, we'll make improvement, but at least it's in there. Remember, even the IMF came in and said, remove
as part of the conditionality for the bill, for the bailout too. They even added it.
Yes. But my only problem with IMF is that
declaration.
Yes. But the problem with the IMF is that they should have made it a conditioned precedent. They've allowed the Kufuor to escape. IMF, this politics. Condition. We started taking the bill away.
Yeah, this president I can't go to
yes. IMF. This one we're blaming.
IMF is still Mahama.
No, he's trying to say that Nanado got.
Hey, now you are coming to explain what he's trying to say. Let him talk.
I am Joseph the interpreter.
Oh, you are not an interpreter. Nobody has had a dream.
Let him explain. He's going to determine. Let him put in there. Oh,
focus. So the point I'm making is that if you look, and like Martin said, look, if the IMF had made it a condition precedent, it will have its own consequences. Because then the timely disbursement of the bailout would have been impeded. And we needed
so that would have been should have been met before any release.
Would have done it under certificate of
agency.
But because they left
Alfred,
thank you.
So you tell let him run up. At the end of the day, that's their opinion. That is not the issue. Look, with this bill, nobody is saying that it is good or it is bad. First things first. I have to make this clear. I'm happy that you have sent me. Quick one. Let me make the comment quickly. I'm happy that Eduji has also sent me the bill. In fact, I spoke to our head of the committee, Animedu, yesterday, but he wasn't able to send it to me. So that's why I came also to ask
Yes.
the questions because Ghanaians want to know. So
Absolutely.
now that you have answered them, we are going to scrutinize them properly at the committee level,
again,
and then we'll
the
come up
public hearing
with
is important.
Yes, and we need to come up with suggestions and solutions because look, this work that we're doing in this country, everything must be subject to public scrutiny so that we are all happy that the right law is applying. Nevertheless, I feel we could have achieved all of this or whatever we are seeking to cure, not necessarily with the public tribunals, but in the courts itself. That is the opinion that I also hold.
Okay.
The tribunals are also courts.
Well, yes, the tribunals are courts.
Yeah.
It's the constitution of it that they
the
have a
regular
problem
courts,
with.
So it's the word
Okay.
So let's continue. So now, the next point is that so the tribunal, to show that it's properly ingrained in our court system. So for my viewers, if you Google Courts Act, you will get it. And under the Courts Act, you see how provisions of it are still in sections 24, 25, 26, right? And 27. So it's still part of our law. When you Google the Courts Act, so the part, so this is to answer the part Ukwe was saying that Rawlings hadn't established it. Under Rawlings, he signed the Courts Act 1993, 459. You see sections 24, 25, 26, and 27 still on the public tribunal. Apart from the one you mentioned.
But just by way of public information, if you look at the Courts Amendment Act 2002, Act 620, it says an act to amend the Courts Act 1993, that's the Rawlings one, to abolish the circuit tribunals, to replace the community tribunals with district court. So if you notice, the district courts invariably came to replace the district tribunals and basically abolish it completely. But this one is a reintroduction more or less with clear delineations in terms of jurisdiction.
And from what we've said, the original one, it is a specialized high court. It's still part of our law.
Yes.
That's why we refer to
Yes.
Article 142, 143. The original tribunal is still part. That's the ones I say I practiced before. I saw that they will tell you. But later they just didn't put judges in there. So we stopped. But it is still
the
part
framework
of
is coming to show us how to organize and the direction to go.
So the
jurisdiction.
Yes, so the bill calls it revitalization. Revitalization. That's a word you find recurring in the bill. Okay. All right. I think because time is gone. It's
Gentlemen,
okay.
thank you very much. And let me just remind you as well that we're live on the Voice of London Radio in the heart of the City of London and Voice of London Television as well. I've seen some messages from you, those who are watching us from the diaspora. I'll read it as we go on. We're going to go for a quick break. When we're back, we'll delve into the matter of the community service, this bill that has been passed by Parliament. In the coming days, from the indication we're getting, will be assented into law by the President. And we will see some very significant changes to our jurisprudence in this country. But before that, as always, Key Point is brought to you by Bank of Africa. From now until the end of October 2026, we've got some good news from the Bank of Africa. They're offering short-term loans at very, very slim rates to salaried workers. We understand you have urgent needs to sort out. That's why we give you that quick turnaround time. Whether it is school fees, prospectus, car maintenance, or that much deserved family vacation, Bank of Africa will sort you out fast. Visit the nearest branch or chat Fafa at www.boaghana.com to sign up. And you can also WhatsApp or call this number 0244 338 226. 0244 338 226 for some more inquiries. Sometimes all you need is a quick fix. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. And GASEM has been building the foundations of the nation over decades, and they continue to evolve to meet our building and construction needs. GASEM is the nation builder. Also, this July, Ghana will host global energy leaders and experts at the Ghana International Petroleum Conference 2026, GIPCON, on the theme Building a Resilient Downstream Policy innovation, and investment for growth. His Excellency the President will be the distinguished guest of honor. Speakers include Honorable Dr. John Abdullahi Jenapo, Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Godwin Ejudi Tamaklo, who is here, the CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, Dr. Patrick Ofori, CEO of Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, and Dr. Rivers Odopon, CEO of Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. Date July 16 to 17, 2026, 8 a.m. each day. The venue is the Palm Convention Center, La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. The event will be climaxed with the Downstream Awards and Gala Night happening on July 18 at the Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel. And we will be back shortly after this quick break. And as always, my outfit this morning is by Kogra Clothing. It's the best version of you. For this and many other outfits you see me wear on Saturday mornings here on Key Point, call them and they would give you an exclusive package. Take this number, 026 055 8056. 026 055 8056 for some more information and how to get to Kogra Clothing for this outfit and many others. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. We'll get into the matter of community service.
Content creators and football lovers, are you ready? Creator Circles is back with Play and Connect 3.0, the Creator Cup Jersey Edition. Get ready for an unforgettable afternoon where football passion meets content creation. Rock your favorite football jersey, challenge your friends in a PlayStation battle, enjoy arcade games, creator collaborations, amazing content creation, and the live streaming of the FIFA World Cup final on a giant screen. It's more than football. It's networking, fun, and unforgettable vibes. Hey, 19 July 2026. Time is 3 p.m. Location is Nexus 9 Lounge and Spaces, East Legon. Play and connect. Play, connect, and create. Don't hear about it. Be there.
The world around us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. between TV3 and the German embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra, starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now. In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us. An honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abinanya Kumasumeni, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news. Welcome back. This is Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. Quite a number of your messages. Dr. Kwame Asante says, good morning. I want to find out from Eduji Tamaklo whether this public tribunals will take the form of local courts so that citizens' participation would also be guaranteed of a sort. In what form will the judgment be delivered if citizens are involved? A bit of education and clarification will do. Yes.
Okay, so maybe Jason Sekwan, Prof. If you notice per the bill, it says that the composition of the district tribunal, that's where the focus is.
Okay.
The Chief Justice consulting the district assembly on the advice of the Judicial Council will pick the other panel members. So 2 of them. And that should tell you that it is direct flow from the people. And now when they do, like the way the Judicial Committee of the House of Chiefs does, even though it's a composition of prominent chiefs, they reasoned their judgments.
Absolutely.
Their judgments are reasoned. And there's a perfect blend. And
on the subject
maybe
matter.
with time, what Parliament can even do is to maybe say that the tribunals may have a lawyer advising. If you look at the House of Chiefs, a lawyer. So he would have, because you see, that person should be like a high court judge.
Okay.
The qualification to be a high court judge. And so those ones are safeguards so that you can have reasoned judgment, even with the participation of ordinary people.
And I'm sure
in
that
process.
when we are trying under maybe Minerals and Mining Act,
Yes.
we
An
will
expert.
get an expert
A
in
mineral
as
expert or
panelist.
something to come in,
So that we won't have a standing committee.
It can
that
change
as
depending
and
on the
when
matter.
We need a special scale in the, we will invite.
Thank you. MK Erickson Techiman says, on the proposed tribunal bill, even in the so-called mother of democracy, United States, they have a jury system in addition to their traditional court. Yet the U.S. is celebrated, but Ghana can't have tribunal court. The MPP, you say, must give us a break. This one here also from Alfred, if the regional tribunals are very important but give nightmares, just change the name or call it Regional Judicatory Courts. BB from Oyarifa. BB, thank you very much for your thoughts on this one. This one here says, I want to find out how the panel members in the court will be appointed so as to address the fears that only NDC people will be packed to jail NPP people at the tribunal. I think that's what.
Yeah,
I think that's what I read.
This one, if you look at clause 11 on the appointment of the members, it says that for the chair, the president does it on the advice of the Judicial Council to cure that perception. Now, when it comes to the other members, the Chief Justice does it with the Regional Coordinating Council on the advice of the Judicial Council to cure any such, misgiving.
From which pool of people?
Oh, no, but that's why the regional coordinating. The regional coordinating is not NDC.
That's from the general public.
Yeah, the general public. It's open.
Mean that people will be selected based on their competencies
from the region.
Yeah, from the region. When you talk about jury,
you see, the most focal point of regional administration is the regional coordinating council, and it's open.
Look, the man talked about jury, for example, and I'm saying with the jury, the lawyer on the other side is allowed to publicly,
preemptory rights,
and to ask certain questions to check on bias, prejudice, and so on. In this case, the lawyer will not have that opportunity because the decision will be made outside his remit.
Obviously, this is not a jury trial. There are two distinct
So I'm just saying that. So when it comes to the Constitutional and Legal Committee, we'll be able to delve into these matters more and then make sure that we put the right impediments in things that we're worried about.
I needed to move on to the next issue, but because we touched briefly on the cleanup exercise, which we're encouraging everyone watching us to also step out and do quickly.
For me to talk at all. When I also interject small, you always hurry me. when Edwudi or they interject, you allowed a little leeway. So you give me small leeway from time to time.
Speedy trial.
Yes, we have to make sure.
Dr. Vanessa Aseye Atipoe says there is a lot of cleaning up going on, and one question I'll ask: what structures are being put in place to ensure sustainability and continuity? Also, after yesterday's cleanup, we see today there's a lot of filth and trash left on the sides of the road. Are there any organized groups who will be picking these up for proper waste disposal?
So the idea is that there are bigger trucks that are supposed to walk the streets and pick those ones that have been left by the roadside, for a centralized collection or dumping area. Like yesterday, the National Petroleum Authority, together with Petroleum Commission, organized ours at that frontage to Fiesta Royal, and we did it. We had the benefit of the bus stop guys helping in terms of the collection. So that helped. I noticed that Ghana Gas and also DDS within. So it's basically an intervention. And obviously, with my sector minister, Honorable John Abdullah Jinapo, he whipped all of us, the agencies under him, to dutifully participate for that shared responsibility. And it went so well.
Thank you
very much. And as Edwudi has rightly just quickly said, and I'm happy you are not rushing me this time. I can see your hand about to rush me, but wait. He has said, now, the woman said something about sustainability, and in fact, it was a very good contribution. I mean, bearing in mind the good work that has been done within the last 2 days, if we don't sustain it, then it's of no good. And it reminds me again of the fantastic story that the president told about 10 years ago about the vulture, where he told us that the vulture is the kind of bird who says that when the rains stop, I'll build a house, and doesn't build a house and waits for the next rains. He won't do that. 10 years, again, yesterday he spoke also about the vulture. I don't know if you heard him. So after the vulture talk, I am praying that the sustainability will be there rather than us talking about vultures every time this thing happens. So good job, let's sustain it.
Thank you. No, you wanted to say something.
Yes, so my comment on the sanitation thing, I remember we're doing it under NDC. Then when MPP came, they stopped it.
Oh, we also
Listen.
did a national cleaning
No,
days.
that's why you stopped it.
Oh, we
and
did
then
national
now,
cleaning days.
how many
Oh.
years on? No. Why did you stop it? Because by
We
then
didn't stop
it had become ingrained. They say, oh no,
So
they
what
are
happened
stopping
yesterday
it.
is because
every
NDC has
first
stopped
Saturday.
it.
Yes.
Every first Saturday.
It was there. There
I
are
think
people
when
stopped it.
When Honorable Julio Debra was the local government
Yes.
minister,
Yes.
then he instituted that whole thing, national. But we can continue.
Stop it.
You stopped
And we
it.
were also
Thank you.
on the national
Thank you,
cleaning
gentlemen.
days.
Last word on this.
This is one good national policy that I am sad if we want to politicize. We need
Look at
to
Rwanda.
open up and engage all of us. Indeed, I was very happy yesterday. I came out of my own volition to support and help do the cleaning. And this did not have any political color whatsoever. And I want us to maintain that.
I saw Patrick
there are
Wama.
situations.
Patrick Wama actually put on his
Page,
Facebook.
yes.
There are situations where we
Just
have
him
to come
alone.
together as
MPP.
Ghanaians.
I saw
Ghanaians.
Jerry Ahmed Saib also in his
So
constituency.
there
At
are
least these are
situations
two
where
people.
Everybody
Thank
was.
you.
Yes,
So maybe in order not for another government to come and stop it,
please.
we should legislate it.
Nobody stopped it. Are you telling me that why NDC didn't do it for 1.5 years? It's because they also didn't
Yes.
stop it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
No,
So maybe we legislate
Let's go to the community.
When is Kenufrata allow you because of your personal issue? But this one,
Thank you very much. End it for me.
So now my prayer is
Yeah,
that
Super Coupe.
it should not be at the national level only.
Okay.
Let's get it down to the community levels. And it is good for all of us. And for nothing at all, it's an occasion also for us to get to see our neighbors. So
Thank you very
let's enjoy the sanitation and let us also enjoy our neighbors as we clean our environment.
Okay, so,
and again, at the end of the day, it is the whole country that benefits. So this one, let us not bring any politics at all into it.
Thank you very much.
Community service.
Thank you. And in quick response to Laman's Bible, that call for legislation, my attention has just been drawn to the fact that the president has announced that the government is considering setting aside 1 day every month
Excellent.
for a nationwide cleanup exercise. It says the current 2-day national exercise is not enough to deal with the scale of sanitation challenges across the country.
Yes.
So it's just
So we should
on
do
the
it.
matter
Let's
of
go for it. And they
sustainability.
should put in place strong measures to avoid any government coming to revoke it. Put
Thank
in
you.
place
But
safeguards.
Alfred,
I have to go for
Alfred,
this quick
no,
break.
before
I'll come
you
back.
go
So
for
the
Alfred,
quick
you
one.
know
Yes.
where we're growing up, the community point where we get water. It was communal labor to ensure that the path is always, And also where I grew up, usually you have, for want of a better word, a public toilet outside the community. The pathway to it, we have to do communal labor to go and clean it and it's surrounded. More importantly, I grew up in society where you have the tankers. I later grew up to know that it is town council that our parents were calling tankers. And woe betides you if through your conduct or misdeed your parents are fined, you will not have your peace of mind that day. I think that a more sustainable approach to this is to empower the community sanitation and environmental officers to proceed with those fines. You can't just set a fire, create smoke in your community and just go scot-free.
True.
They will find you and they will take it up against you. So these little things, I think, when we do, are low-hanging fruit to get our environment clean.
Thank you very much. And it's 21 after 10 here on Key Point. We're going to go for this quick break. When we're back, I've been joined in the studio to have this conversation on the next matter on the community service bill passed into law. Ibrahim Opong Kwating is Executive Director of Crime Check Foundation. Some important aspects of this issue that we're going to get into. Reason why this development, community service bill, has been passed, is extremely important to address process. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
Content creators and football lovers, are you ready? Creator Circles is back with Play and Connect 3.0, the Creator Cup Jersey Edition. Get ready for an unforgettable afternoon where football passion meets content creation. Rock your favorite football jersey, challenge your friends in a PlayStation battle, enjoy arcade games, creator collaborations, amazing content creation, and the live streaming of the FIFA World Cup final on a giant screen. It's more than football. It's networking, fun, and unforgettable vibes. Hey, 19 July 2026. Time is 3 p.m. Location is Nexus 9 Lounge and Spaces, East Legon. Play and connect. Play, connect, and create. Don't hear about it. Be there.
In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us. An honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abinanya Kwasumini, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
The world around us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana, the conversation on climate security implications in Ghana, the Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra, starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now.
I pass on the crown to the 20th Queen.
Who wears the 20th anniversary crown? Are you that bold, beautiful, graceful, and proud Ghanaian lady to win the all-new 20th anniversary crown? 200,000 Ghana cedis cash, a brand new car, an all-expense-paid trip abroad, a scholarship for a master's program, participate in an international event, an ambassadorial deal, a set of gold jewelry, and many more. Join the audition journey. Massive on 8th July at Micklin Hotel. Takrady on 10th July at the Western Serene Atlantic Hotel. In Accra on 12th July at TV3. Scan the QR code now to register.
GMV at 20. 20 years of culture, grace, and legacy.
Ghana's most beautiful is 20 years.
Brought to you by Gino Pomo Tomato Mix, GTP, Kivo Gari 4-in-1 Mix, and Kivo Hot Pepper. Obwasib Numna Wumwankasa, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Fratelli Calipo, Dragnet,
Incaress by NK Pharma.
Welcome back. Thank you. Welcome back to Key Point. Oh, there's a lot that happens when we go on a break, you have no idea.
This is actually the key point.
This
Oh, do they want to hear? It's good. Look,
No.
It's okay.
Please, I beg
Community
you, I
service.
beg you.
Community
Please,
service.
the way back
I beg
you.
We're live on 3FM 92.7. Also on TV3. This week, this is what happened in Parliament. Very important development in our jurisprudence. This community service bill has been passed. It will be accented into law by the president in coming days. Introduces community service as an alternative to imprisonment. The bill allows courts to sentence eligible offenders to perform community service instead of serving custodial sentences, with the aim of reducing unnecessary imprisonment while promoting rehabilitation. Establishes a National Community Service Secretariat that will supervise and monitor, administer, coordinate the implementation of these community service orders nationwide. Target minor and specified offenses. Community service available only for offenses punishable by a term of imprisonment not exceeding 3 years. So take note of that. Including offenses punishable by a fine only or a fine with the option of imprisonment, that is 3 years. Serious offenses are excluded. So matters of murder, rape, and others counted out. Certain offenses are also excluded. The bill prohibits courts from imposing community service for offenses that are unsuitable for summary trial under Section 179 of Act 30, thereby including more serious crimes from the scheme. Yes, courts retain their discretion. It's not obligatory. Offenders will perform meaningful public service, and that has also been outlined, taking into consideration their health. I'll start off with you, Honorable Andy Apiakobi. 3 minutes on this, very quickly.
Well, thank you very much, Alfred. And this is an innovation. I congratulate my Attorney General. He has done well by introducing this bill. Mm-hmm. And it is one of the bills that...
And your dear friend, add it, so that people see how you and him have a love relationship.
Yes, of course.
Your dear friend.
Of course, in Parliament, he was the chairman of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee, which committee I was ranking. We worked together for 8 years. That's fine. That's.
But you have known each other from university.
Oh yes, we both of us went to university, the only university of Ghana.
All right.
So, of course, that is also true. But again, he's bringing innovation into the judicial system, which I commend him for that. And this bill soliciting for conversion of sentencing into communal service, it's a good innovation. And I'm sure it's one of the bills that will pass through Parliament without problems. So once again, congratulations, and I expect my parliamentarians to debate this, only just making sure that we bring effectiveness and efficiency into its supervision. That's all. I'm sure that it's a good thing to come.
Perfect. How significant is this? And yes, Michael.
Okay. In fact, very significant. Let's say that I think this is an area where all of us here seated also agree that it's a very good thing that has happened. This was just passed on the 8th of July. And just because we have an expert on these matters here, I'll just quickly touch on what it is, its constitutionality, the fact that how it can be implemented, and quickly on the best practices. So this is something which is mainly for minor offenses, as you rightly mentioned. Mm-hmm. And this is to make sure that we don't have the over-reliance on imprisonment terms. Because if you look in countries like the UK, for example, when it comes to the implementation, if we are not careful in Ghana, we may struggle with that, simply because we need to look at some of the best practices that are going with it. For example, probation, suspended sentences. How good are we at managing that? How many people have we even trained in the prison sentence, the prison service, for example, to look at the sentences? I'm sure we've all seen in the past, prison officers used to escort people to go and be weeding in our communities, and so on and so forth. We used to see that a lot more in the past. Now the question is, how do we implement it? Because we have to have situations where people may clock in or clock out. In Ghana, you'll be surprised. Somebody may clock in, go home and sleep, come back in the evening, clock out and the system may allow him. This, for example, is something that we should look at because the Interior Ministry told us that basically offenses that are punishable by imprisonment for 3 years or less is what would apply. That makes sense, and it takes care of overcrowding, for example. It helps also with rehabilitation and reformation because there are some people that I would say he's a small boy criminal and he will go into the prison and go and learn big time crimes.
Yes.
Which would rather defeat the whole purpose of the person being put there. So if you look at Article 106, for example, where we're looking at the sentencing discretion of the judges, we are now making it a law whereby it allows the judiciary to operate within an act of parliament or within a law. And I think that that is something that would help us. Except, of course, we must do it within the reason of the area of humane treatment, for example. We can't let people who are going to do non-custodial community service go and carry feces, for example, in public, or do certain things which will dehumanize the person. We must find certain criteria of work which would be humane to the way that they are being looked at. But just to yield to my fellow and colleagues here, I just want to end by saying that this is very welcome, and I think it will really help the judicial system.
Perfect. Thank you. Mr. Kwarteng, I'll bring you on here because this is an area you work in, and your expert knowledge is appreciated right here.
Right.
But based on what you have seen in our prisons across the country, how significant will this be?
Right. Thank you very much. I think this is what we have been waiting for over the years. We've been doing a lot of advocacy in the criminal justice system, especially on the need for the non-custodial sentencing bill, now community service bill, to be passed into law. And graciously, it's been passed into law. I'm sure some of you may have followed what we did with the late Christian Achu, especially with regards to the payment of fines for petty offenders. And I think, so we at Crime Check introduced what we call the Petty Offenders Project. Okay. And it is the single largest intervention aimed at decreasing prison congestion. So, but we realized that it was not going to be sustainable because for how long would you continue to pay the fines of petty offenders, release them, and so on and so forth. What is worrying, and for which reason why we advocated seriously for the passage of this bill into law, is that we all know that politicians and other categories can use, technicalities in court to delay trials. But when someone steals a fowl or a goat, they are quickly shipped into prison. So that is it. But let me quickly add one component which we may have forgotten. For the migrant component. Migrant prisoners in Ghana are increasing.
Migrant prisoners, what do you mean?
Absolutely. So we are talking. So let's restrict it to ECOWAS migrant prisoners, because of the regional framework, ECOWAS Protocol on Free Movement, that ensures economic integration. We have lots of migrants moving in, and looking at mixed methods research that I have done, a PhD research, you realize that even Nsawam alone has 700 migrant prisoners.
Prisoners from that's West African
absolutely.
ECOWAS nationals,
right,
who are in prison in Ghana.
Right. And some has 700. So if you are looking at the total prison population, if it is, let's assume it's 15,000, it is not Nsawam alone. Other prisons also have migrant prisoners.
All right.
Now, if you look at the category of offenses that they are committing, it doesn't fall, most of these offenses are not petty offenses. They are first-degree felony. Yeah. So if we are not careful, we will have a community service bill with the aim of decreasing congestion in our prisons, but replace that bill with an explosion of migrants who are not committing petty offenses, but committing other offenses. So it is worrying. And now, before I also go into convicts with specialized skills, I think lawyer spoke about it. We also have lunatic criminals and then prison discipline. Let me look at convicts with specialized skills with regards to the implementation of the community service law. If we are not careful, we will have challenges.
What challenges?
If the perception is created that someone is going to perform community service, carrying a shovel, and so on and so forth, then we will defeat the purpose of reformation and rehabilitation. Because someone may have a specialized skill who may have committed a petty offense. If you go to the prisons, we have teachers.
Okay.
This, they were sent with an IHL tag in hard labor by the judge. But because the prisons realized that this gentleman can teach, they are teaching. You get a point? So what kind of community service? I think that we should have a broad definition of what community service, mean. I get the feeling that...
But if you look at the aspect of the bill, and not to interrupt you, it says the offenders will perform meaningful public service, right? Does that bring some
that is it. It's still vague.
But you see, if you go further, it says the court, in consultation with the probation officer, taking into account the offender's health and circumstances. Circumstances here can be construed to mean skills, and expertise and what have you.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is what we
So
have
if you
to
have your
look at.
teacher come to teach you in a special dress, that's enough lesson to all the kids that, hey, you can be a teacher, and if you are not careful, you go in.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that is the point I was trying to make.
Absolutely.
So we have to tap into the expertise and not necessarily having, a people, the certain gutters and, and so on and so forth. We also have another component. I call them lunatic criminals. They have entered the court system without perhaps the judge knowing that these people are mentally challenged. They go into the prison and cause all sorts of havoc. So I think that we also, just as the offender's health should be taken into account, we have to make sure that these people are in the right frame of mind to work. In the prison, there is a system where the prisons are able to track the health of these people. Some of them cause all sorts of havoc. So we shouldn't also lose sight of that fact. And also the component of prison discipline. When you are in prison, you can do what you want. How are we going to ensure that those who are going to go out to perform community service operate within the ambit of the law?
Tags and all that.
Absolutely. They don't do anything irresponsibly because they know that we are in the free world. And then I also didn't say that I haven't had the opportunity to read the full text, but our juveniles also part. We have a juvenile center. Let's look at their age. Let's look at their psychological development and so on and so forth. Does it incorporate juveniles? And if so, what exactly are they going to do? Because some of them are in prison, whether you like it or not, the Senior Correctional Center is a prison. So what roles are they going to play within the context of the community service? So all these are questions.
On the matter of, and I'll bring you on the matter of, the persons who are going to be covered by this community service acting out of the scope and being in discipline. I think there's a provision in the bill that takes care of that. That's the penalties for non-compliance. So failure to comply with a community service order may result in the offender being summoned before the court. The order being revoked, and the court imposing a custodial sentence or another lawful punishment where appropriate. Right. Yes.
Alfred, usually when I am having to speak on these prison reforms, I do that from the point of somebody who grew up close to a prison. So in my very early days, because my parents worked more or less at Ghana Water, at Pando, and the Ghana Water facility was just, the treatment plant was just by the Pando prisons.
Okay. Wow.
Yes, just by the Pando prison. The water works is just by the prisons. In fact, it's just a few meters away. So the school, my primary school in GSS was actually called Pando Prisons, Presby, Primary and GSS. Because it was more or less a school set up for prison warders and their wards and what have you. Yeah. And the experience for me in those days was that we saw prisoners come in and go. Not only that, people we lived in the community who later became, got themselves involved in crimes, ended up going to prisons in Pando. And so at that formative years, you kind of, it was something on your mind that, hey, you know what? If you misconduct yourself, will be this. And look, it was a Presby school. So to the extent that even to go to church was mandatory. If you don't go to church, on Sunday, on Monday at assembly, it will be a problem for you. That was the kind of discipline that we were made to basically go through that prison, Presbyterian training at that time. I think that time the moderator was Beku or something. There used to be a Presby moderator like that. So that was how, we basically got associated. I remember every Christmas 26, we celebrated it in the prisons because the prisoners would do concerts and others, and so we're permitted. We were grinding our cornmeal. The cornmeal was in the Kpando prisons. Yes, so we had to go into the prisons. And the thing with the prisons is that you knock once, and then they'll open. Then you have to identify yourself that today you're only coming in to grind meal. And they'll tell us that if you are not careful, you won't come back. So your identity and all those things, yes. But you see, I also noticed something really at that time, which has to do with the fact that the prisoners sometimes were asked to carry human excreta from, So we saw all those experiences as primary school kids, growing up in those times. What strikes me with this community sentence act, I understand now it's an act, is that I pray that President Mahama assent to this ACP by next week so that it's full implementation. It does appear that some form of training, we need some rigorous training of the prison officers. Yes, of the prison officers. I think it also comes with some recruits and logistics. There'll be presence because now you're going to have a situation where prisoners would have to stay in communities. And those prisoners staying in those communities would need to have people supervise them. There is an electronic intervention. That is when you geofence the area and then you put an anklet or whatever they call it, or bracelets, either around the arm or the leg. You geofence it, and then you map particular community. So if they ask you to go and work in this area, you are sweeping in this area, you are doing ABCD in this area. If you move outside, it means you've gone contrary to the order. That will mean. So there is an electronic solution to that presence matter. And I want to believe that Crime Alert, Crime Check. And let me salute you for the great work you have done in the criminal justice delivery system. I applaud you greatly for that intervention. Because prior to this, you have been doing it. Look, all the prayers myself, senior, and all of us have done in our private practices, at any point in time, if our clients are convicted, our prayer to the judges is that the prisons are congested, and for that matter, we pray for non-custodian sentencing. And sometimes the judges are reluctant, simply because there's no legislative backing to that intervention. Guidelines. And that is what this bill is coming in to what? Reform. And so I salute the proponent of this particular one, and I want to thank the Attorney General, the Minister of Interior, all the people who put this together, that finally we are beginning to see this thing happen in our lifetime. I believe that with the electronic and all the logistical challenges, this is a good point to make. I always maintain, you can't say you are a nation that respects human rights if the way you respect prisoners in a dehumanizing manner is problematic.
True.
As part of our training in the law school, and I remember those days with now Special Prosecutor Kisi Jabin as our criminal law lecturer, he made it mandatory that once you finish the criminal law class, you have to go to Isawam.
We start Mensabi always had it.
Oh, okay. So when we came, because Kisi taught us criminal law, he insisted that we'll go to Nsawam prison.
To do what?
So we'll go, learn, see, interact. So that is how come some of us got the experience of going to the death row. Because we had to go to the death row, see them, those who are marked for death, how the death processes is carried out, where the Muslims do theirs, where the Christians, everything you have to go through as a criminal defense attorney to appreciate that the people you defend, this is what awaits them. Because you see, the process of criminal justice is also to serve as deterrence, to send a certain message to persons who engage in criminal activity. That experience for me has been quite profound. And I'm happy that today we are having all these pieces of legislation coming in to resolve decade-old problems that we've all anticipated that we can have solution to it. I am happy we've come to this point. Look, those days in Kpando, the prisoners had a farm at Befi. And anybody who knows Kpando will tell you. It was a big maize farm. And every year, they'll go farm their maize and others. And that was what they were using to feed themselves. For some of them, it became more like a commonplace, that it was no longer seen as punishment.
Yeah.
So today, if you are making it look more like a punishment regime, it's also good. I also see that, Senior Mike, maybe you can help with this. A situation where maybe a teacher, he had engaged in a crime, sentenced to 3 years. That 3 years, he's supposed to spend the same 3 years teaching. But this time, he comes to the same school in a different attire. You understand? He's the English teacher in so-and-so secondary school or so-and-so primary school. He's been convicted. He doesn't go to another school to do the community service. He will do it in the same community where the offense took place.
Yes.
That alone is also a lesson to young people, younger people in that community that, look, you can be the finest, but if you misconduct yourself, it is this. And I understand that the offenses do not include sexual offenses.
Yes.
They do not include robbery. They do not include narcotics and some other offenses. And that for me, I am just thinking that maybe if they were left to the sentence, because you can have an offense so grievous, but the sentence is 3 years. Then you can partake in the community service, whatever we have. And look, as for prison, I always tell people that our approach to it should be a bit more of a humanizing approach, a dignified approach. Particularly
like
when,
countries.
Yes, yeah, I understand Norway, they have, yeah, well, you know, but there's also a cost to prison administration.
Absolutely.
And there's always cost to prison administration. Today, I understand under the leadership of President Mahama, the feeding fee had moved from, I think, 1 cedi or 2 cedi.
1 cedi, 80 pesos.
1 cedi, 80 pesos to feed one prisoner a day. I think that is woefully inadequate. Maybe we can get it. But let me just clear some misconception. You see, the prisoners that we see do exercises around.
Why you round up?
Yes, I'm rounding up. Exercises around. Usually, it may well be that they are in prison with hard labor. And so that is the labor that they are undertaking.
Not the community service.
Not the community service. There are also instances I remember in Kpando, when the person is left with, say, 6 months to go, they can allow you to go to a farm. They can allow you. And you know, there's always a risk if you run away. You end up getting a bit more longer sentence. So there was that incentive that you go and come back, you know, at all times. But these reforms are very good. What they do is that I'm sure the next ranking by the Human Rights Watch and the international organization, Ghana will get a good plus on some of these reforms.
Thank you so much. Lamati people, I mean, this is also one of what you were also advocating for. Is
Yes. Oh, this has been there for more than a decade. Remember this guy, Suppose Foundation, Jonathan Osewusu, and the rest. Then Samson Ladia, there's been many advocates. At a point, they took the bill to Ho. That's during Akufo-Addo's administration, and then Oh, a lot of lawyers, former judicial, this is secretary, one of the deputies.
I understand the president moderator that was called Berko.
Berko. So many lawyers have chipped in and have supported the drive. It's long overdue. I mean, and it's not only this law. Apart from that, you see, Edwin mentioned the matter of the monitoring device, the anklets or bracelet. We should introduce it too quickly for bail, so that people will get house arrest. House arrest, yes. So, but they'll say you stay in your house. If you attempt to go past your front door, then the alarm will blow. The bracelet or the anklet is connected. You see, we are using that same technology for tracking vehicles, cars. You can go to the telcos and they will do and all. Meanwhile, when it comes to using it for prisons, we are not dreaming of it. We've made our prisons colonial very, very hard. So when somebody is arrested, he is deaf. So let's modernize. The speed is too low. As we sit here, people are holding iPhone 17, Pro Max, etc. Meanwhile, our prisons are like 19 Kojo 00. I don't know. You say, so it's not only this law. Yes, it's a good attempt, but let's modernize our criminal justice system. Let's modernize it. Because you see, if we were to modernize it, then it will reduce the fear of persons who are charged with offenses. When you see that, the prison is not so crowded. It's not so overcrowded. It's not so restrictive. The person can, enjoy certain rights, even including conjugal visits. Yeah, if the person is married, his wife, or if it's a woman who is in, should be able to see the husband. Because the more you throw people into jail, you break up marriages. The children become deviant. They enter the criminal justice system. You pay more money to try to rehabilitate. That's how come in certain countries, prisoners are allowed to see their wives, their spouses, etc. So let's have a proper debate on how to modernize the system and the laws. Because we are way behind. We are using the most modern of cars on our streets, gadgets, etc. But as for our prison systems, no. The least attention.
This is a country where we don't have hospital beds. Sometimes for people who want a hospital. So it's a bit of push and shove.
Right.
We will get there. Small.
But the conversation is not being had. The way you see this bill, this current bill, like I'm saying, over 10 years, this one. Over 10 years. Over 10 years to pass this one. Over 10 years. Why?
Thank you. Mr. Kwati, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah,
on
I
this
think
matter,
it's good news. We have all said, and I'm sure it could significantly reduce the country's prison population. If it could have it, then of course we've made a lot of strides. So we want to congratulate all the stakeholders who also have worked assiduously to ensure that it's an act, just as lawyer said. The president has sent to it so that we can have it rolled out.
Quickly.
And how bad is the situation? Maybe in 30 seconds, the overcrowding. You have come face to face with it. I mean, the lawyers know it. They've said it.
You see, let me just tell you, when you go to Sawam, the other side, they sleep. Your face, then the leg of the other person will face the other side. That is how they sleep, intense.
So it's not you're fat into the other person's face.
It's not a joke. It's not a joke. Like I said, because of the training at the law faculty, we're made to go in there to see it for yourself. I mean, you don't want to.
People on remand, they are also doing
the remand segment.
This remand segment is also overcrowded.
And there are people who on remand for 2 years.
Yes. Incredible.
Incredible.
Plus.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Appreciate you for this.
Your friend's birthday is today, Campbell.
Oh, wonderful. A happy birthday to Campbell. And our condolences as well to Mr. Joe Jackson. As we do know, he lost his daughter. She's been buried already, yes. But our condolences, please.
Yes.
Joe Jackson.
And last week of
I lost.
I'm
so sorry.
It's important
Happy
celebrate.
belated birthday. Thank you very much. On behalf of the rest of the team, Mr. Martin, thank you for coming. Fantastic. Thank you so much, and happy belated birthday to you. Thank you, Michael Kwe Jr. Also to you, Edwin Tamaklo. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you.